Chain smoking, burning ring of fire. Rolling stone, I got moves like Mick Jagger. No looking back, don't break my heart. Look at where we started. Yeah, who has it on the run? Who's caught without his bunny? Chain smoking, burning.
Welcome to the IDP Show. I'm your host, Josh Raymer, joined in the Sode Shack tonight. On my right, Adam Markham. On my left, Bobby Reynolds. Gentlemen, how are we this evening?
Doing very well, Josh. Bobby, how you guys doing?
Fantastic.
I think you got to play a little golf today. Let's just get it out of the way right off the top.
Sure. Yeah, it was
Beautiful day here in
The
BG.
Lord blessed us. Kenny blessed us.
February 7th, and we get 68 degrees today.
We had a window.
Yeah.
That's what Kentucky's all about. You're gonna have your windows to play some golf. Today was one of those days, and yeah, we had a good round. Had some really fun shots and some fun holes, and yeah, solid day. 81. Played with a good group of guys that I met. For
That's
the
a nice
first
little
time.
treat, I imagine. We don't meet, I don't know, Bobo. I don't meet a lot of new people at this point in
No.
my life.
Golf's one of the rare things.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't go well. Sometimes you're with a bunch of people that you don't really have much in common with. But there's been I'd say it's like half and half for me.
That's
Half
good.
the time I play with some pretty cool people when they pair you up.
Yeah, that's a good batting average.
That is true. You're in, the grocery store and somebody's like, "Hey, man," and you're kind of like, "Just leave me alone, bro.
Yeah.
I'm getting my groceries." But
I'm
if
not in the
you're
right headspace
you're
right
doing
now.
something that you like, playing disc golf, playing golf, going for a walk, going for a run,
Yeah.
whatever, something that you like
It's
minds.
an easy icebreaker. They're doing the
100%.
same thing as you're
Yeah.
doing. They clearly like what you're doing. It's
Well,
pretty easy.
What was hot today? Irons hot, just piping drives, hot putter.
Wedge game. Chipping
Gotcha.
was locked in today.
Love it.
Had a chip in on
That's
9
beautiful.
for birdie.
Short
It was
game.
it was a really nice day.
Junior Phil over there,
What's better, his wedges or his ranks, Bobo?
Man, it's been a while since we played golf together. I'm gonna say his ranks.
Ranks are pretty hot right now, Addy.
Say his ranks.
Yeah, I think that's fair. They're ridiculous. They're
You're
the
on,
best in
you're-
the game.
You're on fire with the ranks right now. We got the dyno ranks that you're updating every single day. We've got.
We just started the best ball ranks, and
I was
those
gonna
things
say,
are already pretty sick. Honestly,
They're already
they're
popping.
pretty good.
I'm going right down the list, y'all. We got these best ball drafts.
We've been seeing you, Josh.
Get over on the IDPshow.com.
And you've put together a great draft.
Yeah, the draft has been fantastic. You got to have the list of players, if nothing else, because that sleeper ADP, boys,
KJ Wright.
it is super wackadoo. It is the worst ADP I have ever seen. So
Richard
you've
Sherman.
got to have, some guy named Colin Johnson, a white DB that was 34 years old, cut by the Panthers 3 years ago at number 7, I think.
It's really bad, and what's unfortunate is if you've never played IDP, you're going to be completely lost. Right now.
You're going to get your head busted,
Yeah.
folks. Head over to the IDPshow.com. Paid supporters, you get early access to these best balls. You get Adam's best ball ranks. We're still tweaking them. We're still updating them. But if nothing else, to have that list of players in some sort of hierarchy, Bobo, I think, is worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, man, exactly like you're saying. We're doing best balls February 7th of 2023. This is awful early, but we're doing it for lots of reasons. We're doing it because we love fantasy football. We're doing it because we love IDP. We're doing it because we're degenerates, but also because, this is going to be a great beginning for, off-season values, dynasty values, ADP. Where are these guys getting drafted at? What's Matthew Judon? What's his value in IDP right now? So, man, it's fun. It's fun to just draft.
It's fun.
It's so much fun.
The best ball's the best because what's the best part of fantasy football? It's the draft.
Yeah.
It's getting that notification. You're on the clock. Oh, my God, my guy at the top of my queue is still there. That's a phenomenal feeling.
And keep in mind, with these best balls, the people that are drafting are invested.
Yeah.
They cost money to enter.
That's
okay?
right.
They're $1 to $10 best ball leagues. A lot of these content creators like to put out these mock drafts where they just want to pump out some content, but no one really is locked in those mock drafts. You're not really super focused on every single pick. You're just trying to really get in and get out.
That's right.
Let's get this thing over with.
It's a great mocks are a great testing ground. If you just want to try something wacky, you don't have to be super plugged in because again, it's just a fake draft.
right.
These best ball drafts are for real money.
Yeah, there's not a lot of dumb picks. As you'll see. I mean, we've got a room full of really good drafters.
That's right.
I take a lot of notes from the best ball stuff, taking notes on where a linebacker goes, or if you've got a guy in your queue that you're kind of looking at in the 7th round and somebody grabs him ahead of time, just making a note. all right,
Yep.
so and so didn't last to where I felt like his value was.
I've gotten sniped a lot
Oh,
in
yeah.
this draft.
And that's
So,
good, man. That's good. Get sniped in best ball because we're going to do lots of them, and it's not going to kill you across dynasty. It's going to help you. Playing best ball is going to help you be a better fantasy football player.
Sharpen that sword.
Just
We're going
like-
to have some ADP
Yep.
as part of the IDP show draft kit. So we will have the best ADP around. If you want to know where the values are, what guys are being overdrafted, Bobo,
Oh, yeah.
theidpshow.com. We're going to take care of you.
Yeah, we're in there too. We're drafting. Joey the Tooth's drafting. Young King's drafting.
Johnny's in
Johnny's
there.
drafting. This isn't just a bunch of people or a bunch of computers. Like Adam's saying, people that know what they're doing.
Bunch of sharks.
Hey, iron sharpens iron.
That's what they say, Addy. Well, speaking of iron, sharpening iron, we're going to sharpen each other tonight as we round out the Reality Check series presented by our friends at Reality Sports Online. Gentlemen, we're going through the rule change proposal period in our league right now. Of course, the league platform in RSO rolls over after the Super Bowl. So if you want to try out a league, stay tuned. We will have our promo code active. Once the site rolls over post Super Bowl, typically takes they've gotten it down to like a day or two.
Yeah.
They do it. They get faster. about
Rolls
it.
over pretty quick.
They know that we're fiending for it. This is it's a long wait,
It is. So
but well worth it.
we're getting the rule changes ironed out right now. There's been a couple of trades that have happened kind of in this dark period, Bobo, before the platform is actually back active. We're going to be doing flipping the switch on the positional designation changes. So, it's an exciting time for the old Dynasty League right now.
Dude, and I'm starting to shift a little bit to look at the 2023 draft, not only IDPs but also offense. And oh boy, it's going to be fun. Draft season is going to be fun. We're going to be knowledgeable. We're going to run some mocks. We're going to talk to you about where players need to be drafted, who to stay away from, who to reach for. Man, get ready. 2023's draft is going to be a lot of fun.
I love it. I got the 103 this year, probably my highest pick in a long time.
You got any IDP prospects you're excited about?
So obviously everybody really likes Will Anderson. Will Anderson is everybody's kind of darling right now. But hold on, I don't know how to say his name. Vamp for a second.
Who are
Josh.
the folks comping Will Anderson to? Have y'all seen any good comps for Will Anderson yet? I'm not hearing it's Kayvon Thibodeau with a dash of,
Yeah, I haven't seen the
Fill
comps
in the
yet
blank.
either. I'd say that stuff will start getting talked about once the combine results come out
Yeah.
and all that.
yeah.
But yeah,
Once
I
we
mean,
get height, weight, speed on this guy.
he's got everything that you're looking for. I mean, the early college production is there, like elite early on, and then he was solid all the way through. His entire time in Alabama.
So I have to say, early on, I tweeted about it today. Guy's name is Dion Henley. He's a linebacker
great
out
name.
of Washington State University. I believe this is the guy that I'm thinking about. I don't have it pulled up in front of me, but I believe he was prior a quarterback and a running back, maybe a wide receiver, before they shifted him to linebacker. I don't have his metrics or his size, anything like that pulled up in front of me, but I do know Daniel Jeremiah likes him. I think he's in most big brains is, top 5 at the linebacker position.
Sweet.
And I can tell you from what I've looked at so far, the offense is really deep. There's a ton of good running backs. There's way more good running backs than there are wide receivers to me. In your IDP rookie drafts, there's going to be some good wide receivers to take in the second and third rounds, and there's going to be some really good IDPs to take, especially in the third and the fourth round. But yeah, man, Dion Henley, I could tweet it about today. I watched too much tape today.
That's beautiful. We're going to have a lot of good draft stuff coming up, Addy. We got John Macri is back next week. We're going to talk 2022 rookies. That's kind of the kickoff in the feed for the rookie talk. But, boys, we got so much good rookie stuff coming up. We're going to have Mike Wollert back on the show to talk rookie linebacker sleepers. We're going to have Sigmund Bloom back to discuss his top 100. Of course, John will be breaking down LB, DB, and DL prospects with John Glosser and Cal Bellyfuel and Joy the Tooth. I think we're going to do a pre-draft rookie mock. We'll have, of course, right after the draft, probably that Monday or Tuesday after the NFL draft wraps up, we'll have our post-draft rookie mock. So we're going to be all about some rookies here over the next few months, boys.
Listen, listeners know this is the best place to come for anything IDP.
That's right.
Listen to how ridiculous this is. So in one of Nico's leagues that I won last year, let's just floss a little bit. Floss, flex. I can floss too, actually.
Let's. You should floss as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So my team is Mahomes, Josh Jacobs, ETN, Kittle, Jefferson, Chase, Devonta Smith, T. Higgins. You get the point.
That's a pretty nice team.
It's a Devy league. I don't know what I'm doing with Devy. I don't watch college football. I'll be honest with you, but I did add Jahmyr Gibbs and Tank Bigsby 2 years ago. So
That's beautiful.
we're gonna be adding those boys to the team here
Yeah,
soon.
welcome to the squad.
That's
I feel
fun.
like if you name your son Tank, you're really giving him a leg up in the making the NFL probability.
I told y'all today, Tank Bigsby's tape is hilarious. That dude is fun. I don't know where the scouts are going to like peg him. I don't know how high he's going to get. I think he's probably going to slide some, but his tape is ridiculous.
Yeah, the tank definitely boosts his value. Right?
Absolutely.
Same thing was like
It's not the only
if
tank
it was
in the
Todd,
draft.
like Todd Bigsby, you're like, oh,
y'all remember Mac Wilson, the linebacker for the
Yes.
Browns? Same thing. If that dude's
Yeah,
if his
Mack
name
Truck.
was Tom Wilson,
Yeah.
no one cares about that guy.
There's also a wide receiver who's pretty good called Tank Dale. So there's two tanks in this draft.
we need those two
Couple
tanks
tanks.
to go against each other, like
Sure.
a Oklahoma drill or something.
But anyways, yeah, it should be fun, man.
All right. Well, speaking of linebackers, top 24 linebackers, gentlemen, and we're going to do something a little different than the DB and DL episodes. We're going to start at 1 and work our way down to 24. So let's kick things off with a player who was my IDP MVP for 2022. It is Sode Shack, Jacksonville Jaguars. What a season he had, y'all. It was a MVP case that I was able to make very easily. Of course, these are pulled from our RSO league, so you're going to see some edge rushers mixed in. And the beautiful part about RSO, like we mentioned, is that they let you change the positional designations yourself. So these guys that you hear, like the Judons, like the Highsmiths, they will be moving over to defensive end for us here sometime next week. But Sode Shack, 17.84 points per game, 128 solos, 56 assists, 12 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, and 5 pass breakups. Addy, the thing I was probably most impressed by, though, with Sode Shack, those PFF grades were looking pretty
Yeah.
nice this year.
Yeah, man. 69, what was it? 69.6?
Overall, that's right.
Last year was 47.0. I think the year before that he was in the 50s. So yeah, I mean he's put together his best season PFF wise, and yeah, I mean you can't argue with the guy finishing linebacker 1 back to back. He's someone that we've talked about. Maybe we probably were fading, when we were talking about him during the year, but I've come around on Foye. I'm not really worried about the contract being too big. I mean, he's producing, and he's producing well. He seems to be a really good fit on that team. And he's also like, they brought him on like at the start of that team kind of improving. So you feel like he's going to kind of remain with that team, like regardless of how it shakes out with that, Devin Lloyd and Chad Muma. I feel like Foye is a lot more secure and safe now than I did maybe to start the year. So that's made me push him up my dynasty ranks. He is now linebacker 4 for me behind Devin White.
Okay.
I don't care. I mean, if we can get, if he's going to do this for another 2 years, finish as which I think he will, if you finish, inside the top 10 as, of all linebackers, I mean, he's worth that. He's worth that. I'm not going to be taking him in a startup, of course, but if you're a contender and you need a rock solid top 5 linebacker, I mean, I think Foye feels pretty safe for the next 2 years.
Yeah, Bobo, I have no problem taking Foye as the LB1 off the board for 2023. Beyond that, we'll see. Obviously, Devin Lloyd, Chad Muma there, but for the next year, that contract says Foye is going to be the guy.
When is their potential out?
I
It is
believe
next year.
Yeah, it is after next year.
So we'll see. We'll see what Muma and Lloyd look like. I mean, but I don't think no one's too hyped up, I think, about either one of those guys.
Gosh, people love some Foye. I mean, in that best ball, he was a top 3 pick. I have to say, like top 3 probably total off the board. We'll look and see. But you want to sell it, a guy who's the LB1, not just
Only
an
way to go is
LB1.
down.
Absolutely.
But
He
I'm
did go
with-
down last year.
yeah, I was going to say, we said
Yeah.
that last year, right?
It's hard.
He didn't go anywhere. He just stayed right there.
The problem is what are you going to get?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's the market going to give you? Because I think everyone else kind of feels the same. Everyone is a little hesitant about Foye to crown him,
So
right?
maybe Foyer's just a hold.
He was the number 2 overall pick.
I think so.
in that
Okay.
best
I
ball.
think he's a hole because no one's giving you a first.
Yeah.
I think someone will give you a second, but at that point, like, I just kind of want to have this
Yeah,
I'd rather have-
linebacker
yeah.
that's gonna,
Mm-hmm.
never score less than 15 points.
It's kind of hilarious just how the public perception is just so bad on him, but yet every year it's like, okay, y'all keep hating on him. I'm just gonna let him be the overall LB1 again this year. That's fine.
Yeah.
You can talk about how bad his contract is.
Yep.
You can talk about the dead cap. Honestly, though, if Foye or Devin Lloyd don't take some really big advances this year, Foye is going to be sticking around
You
the
mean
Jaguars.
Muma? If Muma
Sorry,
and Lloyd,
yes,
yeah.
100%.
yes.
Yeah. And I mean, Muma, we talked about it with Drew and Tyler. Muma's has trouble in coverage.
Mm-hmm,
So, I mean, that's not great for his long-term outlook.
mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that,
And people have talked bad about Lloyd too. I mean,
yeah, he's
gotten just roasted on Twitter.
yeah.
He's got some. They got some room. They got some room to grow. I think it can happen. I don't want to sour too much on these guys after 1 year because I think they're in a good situation to have success, to see year 1 to year 2 to year 3 kind of growth. So
The best part about Foye too is that he's the LB1 with pretty much not a ton of big plays. 2 sacks, 3 forced fumble, 5 pass breakups.
he's a tackle monster, man.
He does have 12 tackles for loss, so that helps you. But
184. Is that what he had?
yeah,
Yeah.
192 last year, I think. or something
Crazy.
like that.
Crazy.
pushing
Insane.
400 in 2 years
Wow.
Pretty good.
Let's talk about the next guy on the list
on
here.
2 different teams.
Yeah, exactly. And it's changing teams. You don't often see someone maintain that same level. And here we have another guy changing teams who actually went up a level. I think we would all say we feel better about Roquan Smith since he went to Baltimore. He got the big contract, Addy. He was the LB2 on the season, 17.23 points per game, 103 solos, 66 assists, 11 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks, 6 PBUs, 3 INTs, 69.9 overall PFF grade. He was a 77 in run defense and a 77.4 tackle grade. I did not know how I would feel after Roquan went to Baltimore, Addy, but I feel great seeing him in that purple and black.
Yeah, it seems like a perfect fit. And also those PFF numbers are a little misleading if we're talking about Baltimore, because I think he was like in the 84s for his time in Baltimore as far as grade goes. So, yeah.
He did. I remember you had that stat that he leveled up the PFF grades after moving to Baltimore.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think you can explain away the poor PFF grades in Chicago just because that guy probably was uninspired. I mean, look around at that team and kind of what they've been doing the last few years. It's kind of understandable. So, I think the juice is back in Roquan. And, yeah, I mean, he's looking like one of the, the most elite IDP assets there is.
It's kind of hilarious if you look at the 2 breaks in the season on PFF, obviously, but the Chicago PFF colors are a little more red and
Little
orange
more,
and
yeah.
yellow. But then the switch to Baltimore, there's a lot more green, a lot more blue. Man, you're right. Gosh, Roquan
He's
is
just
so
been
hard.
rejuvenated, man.
Yeah.
There's something to be said for the human element of football, where these guys are psychotic competitors. It's such a mental game, and then suddenly their surroundings improve. They're on a track to earn a multi-million-dollar huge contract extension. I mean, Roquan's on top of the world right now, man.
Do you think that people are worried at all? Do you think there's any managers out there worried about the Baltimore situation long term? You think there's anybody kind of wavering on Roquan? Or do you think everybody's
I don't know
pretty
why you
locked
would
in?
be.
There
What's a
should be.
red flag with Roquan
There
right
shouldn't
now?
be. I mean,
If he hadn't gotten paid, if they were still kind of waffling on the contract, maybe. But the dude is paid.
yeah.
They traded a lot for him. They love this guy. He played much better once he got to
Exactly,
Baltimore.
like literally all the concerns that we had.
Yep.
Kind of gone now.
Alleviated. Yeah, we'll talk about Patrick Queen here in a little bit. That's the one where I have some question marks on what Baltimore does long term with this defensive duo.
I think Patrick Queen is a goner. Right.
So, y'all, I was making my notes. I was looking up the contracts. So many of these guys are free agents.
Yeah.
It is the linebacker landscape is going to change so much this offseason. So just prepare yourselves. But
just like running backs,
Roquan Smith and Foyce Aluakun being 1 and 2, we've heard this story before.
So next year drafts, is that still your 1 and 2? You think those are the top 2 picks off the board at linebacker, at least?
As far as 2023 goes,
Yeah.
for redraft,
Yep.
yes, I think so. For redraft, yeah.
And
It
is it
depend-
close? Is it even close? Who would the other candidate be?
my only
Devin
other
White?
candidate would be Nick Bolton.
Nick Bolton.
Yeah, Bolton.
True.
Devin
Good
White,
call.
I think you could lump in there, but these two guys are in a pretty clear class all their own.
Devin White's kind of been frustrating, I
Yeah.
think, though, a little bit.
I think you could put Nick Bolton in that class. I think it could be those 3 guys.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
Because
fine with
honestly,
that.
Nick Bolton, I almost could maybe argue is a better dynasty asset than Foye.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
already
yeah,
talking
he
about
definitely
maybe
is.
the end for Foye.
Do you have Roquan 1 or in your dynasty ranks linebacker wise, or is it Nick Bolton? I think it's Roquan.
I
isn't it?
have Roquan 1,
Yeah.
Bolton 2,
Yeah.
White 3,
That's right.
Foye 4.
This will be an interesting year for Devin White. We'll talk about him in a little bit, but Levante David possibly out the door. What does that do for Devin White? I don't know if that's good or bad.
That's great, Addy, because I agree. I like Bolton's long-term outlook better, but Foye deserves to be up there high. He needs to be in the top 5, just because when he plays and when he's on the field, which I think we're going to see 2 more years of that, the production is just insane.
Yeah. Let's talk about a player I don't think anyone expected to see in the top 5 for 2023. Zaire Franklin, Indianapolis Colts linebacker. He was good for 102 solos, 65 assists, 12 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 6 pass breakups. 57 overall grade. His best grade was as a pass rusher, 66.4. Played 100% of the snaps for the Colts this season, 16.06 points per game. Bobo, in a messy Colts linebacker room, Zaire is still the guy you want.
I agree. You know, I don't think that Zaire is actually that good in the NFL.
I
But
think he's slightly above just a guy.
yeah, I agree. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he can't be an elite IDP asset for another year or so. He's a guy that you're going to have to pay attention to, especially in redraft and to some extent in dynasty, because like we've talked about, you know, every podcast, I feel like for the last little while, we don't know what the future looks like for Shaq Leonard. And with Bobby O apparently leaving, which we'll talk about him later, Zaire is going to, just run it back again for next year. Even if Shaq plays, Zaire has shown enough on the field and in the IDP, box sheet that Zaire's a guy you're going to have to pay attention to. The PFF grades are not that bad. They're not that good, but you're right, Josh.
They're not
he's
replaceable.
Better, he's better than just a guy.
It's not like ejector seat, this guy. Addy, here's the thing. If Shaq Leonard, let's say miracle happens, he's back to 100% health, congratulations. Zaire Franklin's in the Bobby O role. But let's say Shaq is not 100%. Zaire Franklin is Zaire Franklin again.
Yeah, I think you would just expect another performance like we just saw. But yeah, I think that, the time to sell Zaire, it's now.
Yeah.
It's right now,
And
yes.
It's this season. Because I do think he's going to be good again in 2023. But yeah, beyond that, I think it's a 7th round pick. Typically just like a special teamer type player. So I don't think that I wouldn't be expecting much long term from this guy. Sell out while you can. What can you get? A 3rd round pick for?
Could
Maybe.
you maybe get a second?
Do you
I don't
want
think
a 3rd round pick for Zaire?
Yeah, I would take
I
that.
think I would cash out with a 3rd.
You wouldn't rather just have Zaire?
But we'll find another one. We'll find that next linebacker.
That's true. Let's relate Shaq Leonard to Matt Stafford a little bit. I knew last offseason in like April, May, they were like, yeah, Stafford's getting an injection in his elbow. And
It's not good.
I remember Sig talking and saying, it's not good to hear that your quarterback's getting an injection in April. What's going to be, the tea leaves that we need to pay attention to for Shaq Leonard
Training
in the
camp.
offseason?
If he is not ready for training camp,
That's
that is
the
sending
uh-oh.
up a lot of alarm bells for me.
What was the injury with Shaq?
It's back surgery.
Again,
Yep.
another one.
Because the calf, it was all about the nerves. The nerves weren't firing in the calf, and it had something to do with the back. So he had the back surgery to get the calf firing. So
Yeah,
it's a mess, dude.
Doesn't seem good.
Yeah, so just a lot of surgeries, a lot of injuries for Shaq. Zaire is the beneficiary. Yeah, I think if you can get a sweet deal for Zaire, cash out, because I don't know what the future holds beyond 2023. I think for this next year, though, the reality of the situation is you're going to have another LB1 candidate if he can stay healthy. And that's regardless of what happens with Shaq Leonard. If Shaq is out, if he misses an extended period of time, Zaire could push for the LB1 on the season.
Yeah, so I don't think now is really the time to sell, unless you can go ahead and get a third shirt. Just go ahead and cash out. But next year, once he starts performing well out of the gate, because, I mean, who knows with Shaq Leonard. But yeah, I mean, after those first 3-4 weeks, you look up and Zaire Franklin's once again a top 6-7 linebacker out the gate. Yes, then you sell.
If I think the move is wait until that first bad Shaq Leonard news item comes out, like Shaq may not be ready for training camp.
That's a good call too.
Be like, hey, you got a potential like top 3 LB here. Anybody want to come get this guy?
Yeah, you're an LB away, brother.
Exactly. Look at this. Zaire had this many tackles last year.
Could y'all bring an LB in?
I don't think so. We have some cap space, but it's not a need, especially with the resources committed to Shaq Leonard and Zaire being in the building. And I think if they were going to bring someone in, I think they would just keep Bobby O around.
I think they could bring someone in. I don't think they can't pay Bobby O.
I think we're going to invest our resources along the offensive line, along the wide receiver room, and we'll have a rookie quarterback. So I think we're going to try to build up the offensive infrastructure.
You are going to trade back a ton. You'll take one of these linebackers in the 3rd or 4th round. He'll be pretty solid.
Yeah.
Zaire Franklin.
Now, I'm not saying we wouldn't draft someone. I don't think we're going to go spend big free agent money on
I don't think you have
all
to, though,
these
but
guys
like
that we're
you
going to
mentioned,
talk
though,
about.
there is a
There's a
lot
ton.
of landmines out there. These
There
guys are
are.
going to have to navigate.
Yes, exactly. So
I would love to see Rashawn Evans as a Colt.
I would love to
Exactly.
see David Long as a Colt.
David Long.
That would be
TJ
so
Edwards.
much fun.
There's a lot of guys. That
There's a
can come
lot
in
of
there.
AFC South kind of just swapping as players
And
hit
here's
the
the
free
thing.
agent market.
What's that guy going to cost? More than $5 million? Probably
Probably
not.
not.
Yeah, that the thing that's helping the Colts if they want to dip their toe in that market, all these guys are going to just depress each other's value.
Yep.
So let's talk about Nick Bolton. We mentioned him already. Number 4 on the list. Kansas City Chiefs linebacker broke out in a big way in 2023. 108 solos, 72 assists, 9 TFLs, 2 sacks, graded very well. Bobo, probably one of the highest tackling grades, 89.9 on the season. He played 98% of snaps across 17 games, averaged 16 points per game. Here's the question I think we have to answer, Bobby, because I think we all feel really good about Nick Bolton, what we saw this season, the combination there with Willie Gay. I have Gay in our main RSO league, so I'm excited about what the future holds for this duo. But the question we have to answer, does Leo Chennault see the field in 2023? Because I think your inclination on this answer will affect my confidence in Willie Gay and Nick Bolton. Now, I don't think Chennault factors into the plans at all. I have a lot of confidence in Nick Bolton, but Addy, that is kind of a little bit of a storm cloud lingering out on the horizon there.
I'm not as worried about Bolton, but Willie Gay for sure.
Absolutely.
Because Willie Gay, his contract's up after next year. So, I mean, if he struggles at the gate, they're going to replace him with Leo Chennault.
I think that was the plan. I think it was just keep replacing these guys. They'll probably take another linebacker that could be Nick Bolton insurance, They have a lot of redundancies built in
But
here.
yeah, I kind of like Leo Chennault a little bit. I think he's kind of sneaky.
Yeah. Leo, Bobo. That's a great, strong name.
Yes.
Strong astrological sign.
Here's the only issue that I have with that logic. Okay, so yeah, this is kind of what I thought. So Leo Chennault, his 2021 season at Wisconsin, he had 62 solo tackles, 53 assists, which is really solid, 18 and a half tackles for loss, and he did have 8 sacks. He had 3 sacks the year before in 2020, and that was only in 7 games. I think Chennault is a little bit of a different player. I don't really think that he's obviously not Willie Gay. Willie Gay, to me, is pretty dynamic linebacker there beside of Nick Bolton. Chennault, to me, really is more of a pass rusher, in my opinion. I think the only way that we could really see him get much more play next year is just maybe in some sub packages. You've got some packages where you're going to take maybe Willie Gay off the field, because I don't think Nick Bolton is the linebacker you're going to take off the field. And you want to, put some more in the box to put some pressure on the quarterback. I think Chenal maybe could see some more run at that point. Chenal has some draft capital, though. I don't exactly remember where he was taken. I'm sure it's in Adam's rank somewhere, but I feel like he was a 3rd or 4th rounder. Nick Bolton, to me, I agree with you, Josh. Most linebackers at this ADP, I'm a sell candidate for. Let's go ahead and check off Macri's slot there on the bingo card, because I'm going to talk about him. But if you want to sell Nick Bolton, go look at Macri's tackles versus expected spreadsheets for the last 2 years. Nick Bolton is elite in both of those.
He's a very good player. Great tackler.
Leo Chenal was a 3rd-round pick, Bobby. 9.99 RAS score.
Oh, my God. He was that good?
As a sophomore, in 7 games, Chenal racked up 46 tackles and 3 sacks.
Yep.
And 6 TFLs in 7 games as a sophomore.
That's pretty nasty.
That's pretty
He
nice.
struggled with health in college. He only played 25 games. I think he left after his junior year. But, boys, that is some nice stuff we are seeing out of Leo Chenal.
I think the trap door. I think the trap door is under Willie Gay.
It's Willie Gay.
I don't think it's under
Willie
Nick
Gay's
Bolton.
gone. They know it. We're going to probably see Leo Chenal get integrated into the offense a lot more.
Okay, so circle back.
Defense a lot more.
And the
Circle,
offense and special teams.
circle this back
Maybe the
around
front office.
to Nick Bolton. Could we be seeing like a really elite asset for several years?
Maybe,
I
yeah.
get that the odds are probably against Nick Bolton, but could we be seeing a player who
Could this be the next generation Bobby Wagner? Because Bobby Wagner classically had LB2s kind of cycle in next to him, and he was the mainstay.
Yeah, kind of slept on early in his career.
Yep.
Never really lumped in with top dogs.
And that's probably, I get that this
That's
is
high praise, obviously. But
I get that this is far fetched, but that's just kind of how I think of Nick Bolton. I don't think that I don't know what he's worth.
he's got the hard eyes for Bolton.
Man,
I can't
love
blame him.
Bolton, man. I love
Bolton's a
him.
good player.
Is anyone giving a first for Nick Bolton out there?
I don't think so.
So that's the thing. You just kind of got to hold on to him.
I think you'd be surprised. I've had some people biting, and they know what Nick Bolton is, what his value is. And I think somebody would give you a first, maybe not a 23,
24 first.
maybe.
I think
maybe.
you could get that.
And would you do that?
No. Ooh.
I would do it. I think anytime you can get a first, because we know how rare those.
Okay, so late this year, you're looking at a Sean Tucker, you're looking at a Zay Flowers, you're looking at the guy out of UCLA, Zach Charbonnet.
No matter. It's just draft. It's just going to appreciate until we get to that. That's an asset that is a stable asset.
It's not going to lose value.
I don't got to worry about it. That's
Yeah,
just
I
going
don't
to
know.
keep on picking. Dude, you know how it is.
Pretty fun looking and seeing Nick Bolton on my team.
It's great. Also, you know
I
what else
get
is
it.
fun?
You're
Jack
right.
Sanborn and those types.
You're
That's
right.
the thing. This conversation is littered with guys who we never saw coming
Zaire Franklin.
But-
before
That's
the
fun.
season.
But I will say,
This next guy on the list.
we all have that guy, though. And that guy, for me,
Yeah.
is clearly Nick Bolton.
That's all right. It's okay to have a man
do.
crush.
We definitely do. But I think it's probably a blind spot.
Josh's is Max Crosby, probably.
Yeah.
And
That's
yours
fair.
is
Jalen Phillips.
some guy none of us have heard of.
Yeah. You'll be hearing about him.
You'll
And
hear
Adam
about
takes him in the first round.
in week 3 when he pops off and is the hot waiver wire ad. Speaking of, this year's hot waiver wire ad was Frankie Louvu. Carolina Panthers clocks in at number 5. He had 76 solos, 35 assists, 19 TFLs, and 7 sacks. He graded really well in run defense, 90.1 with a 74.8 overall grade, 92% of snaps, 15 games played, 14 started, 17.52 points per game. Now, Fred, Warner, Dre, Greenlaw, they got Frankie Louvu's old defensive coordinator. And now Louvu gets Denver's old defensive coordinator, Bobo Ejiro Evero, landing in Carolina on Frank Reich's new staff. Remember Josie Jewell? Remember Alex Singleton? I am hyped for Frankie Louvu and what he can do in Ejiro Evero's defense in 2023, Bobo.
I couldn't agree more, Joshy. And look at that run defense grade of 90.1. It's so nasty. For a guy in Louvu that I sold in a lot of spots last season, I had instant regret. He put up a lot of points against me in the XFL championship, which I don't, I'm kind of pissed off still about. But I think maybe in some leagues where his value is the best is potentially in best ball. He doesn't have the safest floor, but dang, his ceiling is really high.
His ceiling is 35 points, explosion.
And it happened more than once, I feel like, last year. As far as Dynasty IDP goes, is
Who knows?
Is Luvu the guy that last preseason he played like one snap and they were like,
They put him in ice.
and he's out.
They put him in bubble wrap. That was it.
Man, that was pretty telling.
In Big Three scoring 4 games over 28 points for Luvu this year.
Wow.
That's a week-winning type of performance.
He was number 1 in points per game, 18 points per game.
Wow.
That's higher than Roquan. That's higher than Foye. So it was Frankie Luvu.
Missed a little bit of time. I think
Right.
he missed a few games like near the middle of the season maybe.
But still, no one had a higher ceiling.
I heard
and
a
did
lot
it
of
more than Luvu.
talk this season or this week with the Evero hire of like this Panthers team. They're loaded. They got some really good, young defensive talent. And I'm like, and Frankie Luvu is in that bunch. When people make that comment, they are talking about Frankie Luvu with that group.
And we need to give a little bit of shout out to Montana Realty Company for the draft selection here of Luvu. Luvu went way too late in this best ball. He was the end of the 4th. He was the 412.
That's nice.
That's a really good value for Luvu.
Yeah, 111 tackles, 7 sacks, 19 tackles for loss. That was most among linebackers.
Playmaker. Great best ball target.
Yeah,
Go out there and get him in best ball, folks. That's a fun player to have on your team.
4 games over 28 points.
That's beautiful.
It's insane.
That's a week winner.
Let's talk about another free agent from the Los Angeles Chargers, Drew Tranquil. Clocked in at number 6, 95 solos, 51 assists, 10 TFLs, 5 sacks. He played 93% of snaps across 17 games played, 15.12 points per game. Addy, this is going to be a common refrain tonight. He is a pending free agent at 27.4 years old. PFF's 36 graded linebacker. He's a poor man's version of another guy that I'm a big fan of, Bobby Okereke. I think that he is going to probably get a nice little deal on the open market, and he'll be in the mix for us in 2023 as well. Not to this extent, I don't think, but he'll absolutely be relevant for next season.
Yeah, I like Drew Tranquil. Where's he going to land? Of course, that's the big question. But yeah, I mean, 66 PFF grade this year? Is that right? In the 60s.
66.5.
He's been in the 60s, I think, his whole career. But yeah, it was nice to see him finally become productive and useful for IDP. And I think he would have been before now. He just struggled with health. So yeah, I like Drew Tranquil. What do you guys think of Tranquil?
I wrote in here, he played 16 games. He was healthy. Sounds like a great sell to me.
I think so too.
Absolutely.
He is a great sell because there is it's a lot of unknown. Like I really don't know how.
There's just a big bag of these linebackers that are going to be switching teams, and I have no idea. I think the contracts are going to be so important because that's going to be indicative of who are these guys, who are these teams bringing in to actually start.
Yeah.
And who's just coming in as a camp body or as, roster depth.
The Chargers are not going to keep Drew Tranquil because I feel like Brandon Staley is cocky enough to where Tranquil wasn't one of his dudes, and he's going to want to bring his group of guys.
He's going to bring, because I think his ass is on the chopping block, especially after that epic collapse against the Jags. And if he's going to go down, I think Staley's going to want to go down with his defensive guys.
You listen to more of the Normie pods than I do. Why the Kellen Moore move?
So that was because he was feuding with Mike McCarthy at the end of the season. There were reports of those two guys kind of going at each other. There was sort of this rift between how they wanted to sort of have their offense. I think Kellen Moore, reading the tea leaves, wanted to be more pass happy. Remember, he was Dak's backup. Mm-hmm. So he knows what Dak can do. I think he was behind more of the passing game. Mike McCarthy wanted to run the ball more. So it was just, and now Mike McCarthy's calling plays. They elevated Brian Schottenheimer. I think Mike McCarthy, again, knows his ass is on the chopping block. And so if he's going to go down, he's going to go down calling plays the way he wants to.
Interesting.
But yeah, Kellen Moore scooped up very quickly by the Los Angeles Chargers.
Keenan Allen's made no contact with the team apparently since the playoff loss.
There's been some rumblings about him and Gerald Everett potentially being some cuts this offseason.
If I'm Herbert, I'm like, no.
Please don't.
I mean,
it
Gerald
would be
Everett.
Mike Williams, who
Yeah,
plays
Everett,
like
whatever.
4
Yeah.
games a season.
Everett
you're
shouldn't have
gone.
been even listed in this.
But they still have Donald Parham, the dude who got drilled last year in the playoffs and then did the fencing thing when he had a concussion. But yeah, I'm with you. Herbert is Keenan Allen ain't going nowhere.
Keenan's still good.
Yeah. He's,
What are they talking about?
the worst part about Keenan at this point is he has struggled a little bit with injuries this last year. But
But still,
yeah.
he came back and he was really good.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
Next up, gentlemen, you're going to be shocked to learn that we have yet another soon-to-be free agent linebacker. We talked about him a little bit on the episode with Tyler and Drew, which check that out if y'all haven't. A lot of you have, and thank you for checking that out. It was a really fun episode, some buy, sell, hold. TJ Edwards, number 7, Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
Bobo Reed.
That's a great point.
He's got a big ego, huge ego. Why don't you read us some of the stats that Mr. Edwards racked up?
He had 99 solos to go with 60 assists. He had 10 TFLs, 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble. 1 fumble recovery, and 7 pass breakups. He has some of the greenest and bluest PFF numbers that we have seen so far. He had an 84.8 defensive grade. He had an 83.4 run defense grade. He had an 81 grade there for pass rush, and then almost an 80 grade in coverage. He, along with Foye Aluakun, I think that's one of the only ones I've seen over 1,000 snaps played.
Yep, and that's only 94%.
17 games played, 14.94 points per game. Adam, what do you think here on TJ Edwards?
Yeah, I feel like he's in pretty much a perfect situation there in Philadelphia. I would imagine he's going to regress fantasy-wise. I mean, I don't see him averaging 15 points per game in a new situation. Maybe this is another Foyer.
Could be.
Could be. But, I mean, I think odds are it's not maybe a good time to sell, but also it's like everyone sleeps on TJ Edwards.
Yeah,
TJ Edwards. This
that's
is
right.
a guy that was undrafted. I mean, I'd say a lot of people probably share the same, doubt that we have. So
He could really help himself in the Super Bowl.
If
he goes out and has a big game,
right.
he could get himself a nice free agent payday. I could see Edwards being a sneaky, highest paid linebacker this offseason.
And I think like a sneaky move would be like maybe try and acquire for a 4th right now.
Yeah,
or something.
absolutely.
And also try and do it before that big contract comes out because that'll boost up his value a little bit.
Absolutely.
I think that, this is why you listen to this podcast in the offseason, because now we have all this info. But also, too, we're going to have to talk about where these linebackers go here for the next 3 to 4 months. This is going to be a really busy offseason as far as IDP is concerned. But, yes, TJ Edwards, like you're saying, Adam, I feel like he's a popular sell. And honestly, to me, that's why I'm probably a buyer. I'm not going to give anything crazy for him, but honestly, I'd probably give at least a 4th. I may give a little more. I may.
Try and do a late 3rd or something.
Yeah,
or
I might. That 80
2025 3rd or something. You can get.
Speaking of trades, I don't know if this guy's on the list here because he got banged up, but I offered Bobo $312 for David Long.
He did.
Wow.
He turned me down.
He did.
Interesting.
Yeah. That just after the episode, I was like, you know what? I love David Long. I'm going to make an offer for this guy.
What did I say?
You said that it was kind of meh, and you'd rather have David Long.
I said that's probably right. That's probably his
That's
value.
fair value, I think.
Yeah. I should probably take it. But I don't know. Maybe we'll come back around to it. Who knows?
Maybe once the platform rolls
You
over.
may not want it.
My price may have gone back to a 4th.
Start to know these rookies a little bit.
I originally offered, I think, 403,
Yeah, he came in with the trash.
and then I said I've also got 312.
old trash
So-
man. It's a good offer.
Speaking
It's a good
of
offer.
speaking of free agents, though, and the ideal landing spots, the week of March 5th, y'all, we will have the free agency preview. We're gonna do the legal tampering period, which opens that following Monday. That's when most of the big deals get signed. So we'll have a recap that Monday and then another recap later that week. So we're gonna hit up free agency just as much as we're covering the draft. Bobo, next guy on the list, Bobby Wagner, Los Angeles Rams, number 8 on the list. It was a great season for B-Wags. 81 solos, 59 assists, 10 TFLs, 6 sacks, 5 pass breakups, 2 INTs. He blocked a freaking field goal, 90.7 overall. Run or defense grade by PFF. I really see no reason to fade Bobby Wagner in 2023 if the Rams are going to run it back. Dude's 32.6 years old. He was PFF's #1 graded linebacker in 2022.
All right, about the Rams first. Maybe I am a little bit cocky in thinking with a couple of moves, maybe they could be back to the 2021 Super Bowl situation. Now, they need some help. They need some running back help. They need another Robert Woods. And then they're going to need some help opposite of Leonard Floyd. I guess he's still there. Two things with Bobby Wagner. A, Adam just took him in the first round of a best ball, so I'm going to need an explanation for that because I don't see Adam draft.
Explain yourself.
I don't see Adam draft Bobby Wagner that often. But the other thing is, to me, Bobby Wagner is maybe just the new Luke Kuechly, and you just ride him until retirement because his value as far as IDP has probably dropped just because of his age, but his production sure hasn't.
Yeah, I mean, he had a phenomenal season in a new situation, and
He's turned into a bit of a pass rusher.
Yeah.
6 sacks, 50 tackles? How
Yep.
many was it? 140?
Real
150?
close.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's what he's gonna do. I mean, he's just in a perfect situation there. Yeah.
And what did we talk about in the offseason that your boy Nate Tice talked about? They're going to play more of this 2 linebacker set with him and Ernest Jones.
Walked
and they're
up.
both going to be giving
Yep.
each other the opportunity to rush the passer a little bit more.
well, they
That's
didn't have a lot of pass rush help, so they had to generate
They had none.
that kind of pressure somehow.
Yeah.
That 90.7 PFF grade is pretty impressive. There's a lot of people that were kind of saying B-Wags is washed after last
He
year.
looked bad in that first game.
Yeah, he
looked
did.
slow,
He did.
kind of lumbering. I was like, is this
and
Bobby Wagner?
that defense was still pretty bad.
Yeah.
Could the Rams get back to relevancy? I think they could get back to relevancy.
Super Bowl contention,
Absolutely.
though.
But the NFC, who's in the NFC? Brady's gone. The NFC South is absolute hot
Rogers
garbage.
may be gone.
Yeah, he's going into a dark room. Did y'all see this?
I saw
Yeah,
that.
4
going-
days or
yeah,
whatever. They're
Light
bringing him
deprivation.
He seems like he really enjoys this.
Food. Dude, that sounds
attention.
horrifying.
Absolutely.
Sounds horrifying.
Someone tweeted, so Aaron Rodgers is paying for solitary confinement? Like, is that what's going on
Yeah.
right now?
No, thank you.
How
Yeah.
annoying.
He's like, I need to go to the XFL. I'm going to be the face of that league.
So
No, you
if
don't, dude.
if Rodgers went to the Raiders, that's more AFC.
Yeah, I mean, I think, who do y'all think? If you had to put money on it, sounds like Raiders are in the mix, Jets are in the mix. I don't think he sticks with the Packers. I wouldn't even really put that in the mix. I think they're putting out the vibes. They want this guy gone.
Feels like the Raiders.
I think so.
But I mean, do you want to go into that division?
yeah,
that's
seriously.
true.
But you got Devontae.
Did y'all think that? I thought Rodgers really regressed last year. I didn't think he looked like himself.
I think he wasn't really interested.
Yeah, he's like,
Maybe.
this team sucks.
And that team, I mean, there
It was
wasn't
a
a
bunch
lot.
of rookies.
Yeah.
It's a lot of young guys. He's
He-
over that shit.
But
Yeah.
he did it to himself though. The first play of the season when Christian Watson gets around the guy,
I think he was checked out at that point.
dropped
like,
the
"Yeah, we're
ball,
done."
and then clearly was like, "Look, get this guy out. Give me 48-year-old Sammy Watkins. That's on you,
Give
bro.
me Randall
Yeah.
Cobb.
That's on you.
Someone
Sammy
called
Watkins.
Jordy.
It's like, oh wow, this guy's actually really good.
Yeah,
Yep.
he scored 8 touchdowns in like 4 weeks or something,
Yeah,
whatever
he
that
was
was
awesome.
midseason.
So, yeah, I think the Rams could get back to relevancy. I think B-Wags is going to stay relevant. Let's talk about number 9 on the list. A name you've already brought up, I think. Didn't you mention him for the Colts here, Bobo?
Sure did.
Number 9, Rashawn Evans, Atlanta Falcons. Great season. 86 solos, 73 assists, 6 TFLs. Graded okay across the board. 78.8 tackle grade was his best. 1,104 snaps played, 98% across 17 games, 13.94 points per game. Addy, why does it feel like Rashawn Evans is maybe more landing spot dependent than some of these other free agent linebackers?
Yeah, because I mean, we haven't seen it really until this year. I don't know. I don't feel great about Rashawn Evans. I mean, do you guys?
Not at all. Bobo, I think you're maybe the more optimistic of the group.
I've always kind of liked Rashawn Evans, and he just played pretty well. And maybe it was just the Falcons are terrible type of thing. So maybe he
Do you
just
know what
got to run.
PFF had their draft needs as? Everything.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, I don't doubt it. D line was bad. DBs are bad. Quarterback's bad. He did play over 1,100 snaps last year.
Crazy impressive.
That says a lot. I mean, y'all are probably right. I do like his floor. He has a nice tackle floor there. He doesn't really do a whole lot in the big play department. Rashaan Evans is going to be a guy who could be maybe a back end LB2, LB3 for you next year.
I was going to say I could actually see him if I'm making the prediction of where he ends up. He's one that I feel like I could see coming into a situation to be the LB2 for the team. I could see him landing with the Colts if they wanted to get some linebacker insurance, or, you know, maybe he goes, to one of these linebacker needy teams. I mean, hell, Seattle has Jordan Brooks, who we'll talk about. Did y'all know that Jordan Brooks didn't have ACL surgery until like January 13th?
Oh my God!
This
It
year?
was middle of January.
Guys, do not draft him. Do not.
I don't think
draft
we're
him.
going to see Jordan Brooks. Cody Barton is a free agent.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, really? I didn't know
yes,
that.
I didn't know that either
But
until the
I
young
feel
king
like they
mentioned
might
it.
bring him back just because there is
Yeah.
no one else there. Well, or you could just see him completely
Wow, I
figured
drafted
out through the free agency and draft.
Yeah.
I drafted him in that best ball.
I
not
still
knowing.
could be
I had
okay,
him in
though.
my queue. He was going to be my pick if you hadn't
Dang.
taken him.
That'll
Let's
still be
go.
fine. I think.
Yeah.
Let's
So
go, Bob.
Rashaan Evans, I think, will be a name to pay attention to. All these names. Here's the thing, guys. Like, even if they don't land in the most primo situation, it'll cycle right back up here. October 5th, we'll be talking about Rashaan Evans is relevant. So-and-so's injured. Watch out. Here comes Rashaan Evans.
Rashaan Evans or TJ Edwards?
I think Edwards.
Neither.
Oh.
No thanks. I
He
feel
said
like,
either or, Addy.
no thanks. I feel like Evans, like, there's just
Such a
not
flex.
going to be a lot of situations where he's going to get more snaps than where he got.
This
in
was the
Atlanta,
perfect opportunity.
right? Because I don't feel like he's ever going to get better in coverage at this point in his career. He's already 27. Like, wherever he goes, I feel like he's going to be lucky to get like 80% of the snaps. Atlanta was the perfect situation. Had his previous DC, like, it all lined
No,
up. for him this year.
absolutely zero talent, like that was really threatening him
Right.
for snaps.
Michael Walker and then a rookie,
Troy Anderson. Yeah.
Y'all's year in, year out hatred for Evans gets on my nerves.
Well, this was the first year
I
Evans
know.
was worth, this was a
know.
guy
I'm
that was
saying he's
highly
going
drafted.
to be relevant, but am I going to be pegging him as LB9 in our redraft ranks? No.
What's his ADP going to do in redraft in some of these leagues?
He'll be
He'll be up there. He'll be a top 30 linebacker.
I was going to
I'm
say,
not
yeah,
interested.
top 24 probably, depending on landing
What
spot.
point does he have to get to for you to be interested?
40, 45.
40,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just hates. He really does.
But here's the
He
thing.
hates it with a
I'm
passion.
just not going to be in a position to draft him. He's no longer a value. You know.
Yeah, let's talk about this next
agree.
guy
I
because
agree.
I think he could be a good either or. Number 10 on the list, C.J. Mosley of the New York Jets. 99 solos, 59 assists, 5 TFLs. Graded pretty well across the board. Got a lot of green and yellow here. 1,114 snaps played, 98% across 17 games, 13.85 points per game. Addy Mosley has been consistent for IDP. I wouldn't be shocked to see him get cut this offseason. They can save $7 million in cap, and he was the 30th graded linebacker by PFF. So solid, not super remarkable.
Feel like at this point in his career they can replace that.
Yeah, and I feel like his best days for IDP are probably behind him at this point. But I just want to give a hat tip because he has been better than I think we anticipated there with the Jets.
Yeah, he's been really good, man. But yeah, I would not be surprised if that happened. I feel like the Jets have had this circled on the calendar for a while. Like when can we get out of this contract?
Yeah,
that was one of
seriously.
the weirdest contracts when it was
I
announced.
think that was an Adam Gase contract.
Probably so.
I
But
think
yeah,
he signed Le'Veon and CJ Mosley the same offseason, and then Le'Veon comes in and is disinterested right away. CJ Mosley tears something, the ACL maybe.
Yeah.
And so it was two huge signings that were a huge bust right off the bat.
yeah, Mosley will be 31 when the season starts. So I mean, time to sell is now.
Yeah, cash out on this season, Bobo.
Yeah, I was wondering how old Mosley was.
He's getting up there.
Yeah.
But it's like you've had a good run, just kind of been an unsung hero. I never once thought like, oh, CJ Mosley has a good chance to finish top 10, but here he is. So you got to give him some credit.
He's kind of like Evans to where they were both okay, but they also played over 1,100 snaps on the season. So
Both on really bad defenses.
Yep.
if
Volume monsters.
what's Mosley worth right now? A fourth.
A fourth.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're a contender, I mean, and Is he going to go to a situation better than New York if he gets cut, though? That's
Probably
the
not.
problem.
I mean, yeah.
But maybe.
But maybe.
You gonna
Maybe
go-
he could be LB1.
He's not that
Never
big.
know.
He's not a big play guy. 1 sack, 1 INT. So if
Yeah.
you're asking him to go somewhere and produce more, you're basically asking him to go somewhere and play more than 1,100 snaps.
Yep.
I don't see that.
Not going to happen.
Yep.
Let's talk about another guy that is very interesting. Number 11 on the list, Patrick Queen. Now, this is the linebacker in Baltimore that we have some question marks about, but at least for 2022, Patrick Queen was very solid. 79 solos, 38 assists, 9 TFLs, 5 sacks, 2 INTs, 6 pass breakups, a forced fumble, and 2 fumble recoveries. Graded very well. 70 overall defensive grade, 75.5 pass rush. This is where Patrick Queen excels. 1,026 snaps played, good for 94%. 17 games played, 17 started, 13.8 points per game. The Ravens have to decide this offseason whether to pick up his 5th-year option. They just signed Roquan. So, Bobo, I ask you, do they ride with this duo for the foreseeable future?
Hey, shout out to the King of Queens 2.0 discount Kevin James here, proving us all wrong.
Your metaphors are so mixed up, I don't know what the hell we're talking about anymore.
The Queen can be a relevant IDP. Y'all ever watch King of Queens? Y'all ever get into that show?
It would be like
It's on CW or Fox or whatever.
after like a game ends.
yeah.
You're like, it's on. Like, I've
either-
been watching it for an hour.
Yeah, it's like,
I can't look away.
it's somehow okay.
It's either that or like Everybody Loves
I was going to say,
Raymond.
Everybody Love Raymond was
Yeah.
the other one I was going
One
to
of
say.
the two.
Those are classic. Those guys have to be still getting checks, getting royalties
absolutely.
rolling in.
Yeah.
Hey, they played King of Queens 48 times last month. Send them in.
Yeah, we got to put something on the air between like 2 and 5 a.m.
It is kind of ironic to me that that Patrick Queen, we've got 2 Baltimore linebackers here, and given, Roquan only played half the season there in Baltimore, but Patrick Queen is fun, man. Adam tried to tell you all last offseason that Patrick Queen could shine a little bit in pass rush, and here he is now with a guy, who's pretty elite beside of him in Roquan, and now Patrick Queen has 5 sacks on the season and 9 tackles for loss. I don't know. Maybe I'm not a realist. I just don't see. I don't know that Pat Queen is going to ever be worth like elite money in the NFL. So maybe I see Baltimore trying to keep him on some type of a smaller, shorter term deal. I don't know. Maybe I'm not a realist as far as the actual NFL money's concerned, but I really just like the Queen and Roquan.
I think they're going to
setup.
pick up his option. I think that's a no-brainer. I think they'll absolutely pick that up. Usually, you don't pick up the 5th-year option if someone is like, you just want to get this guy off your team.
The 5th year would be for 2024.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to decide going into that 4th year if you're going to pick up the 5th-year option. So I think Roquan is going to be secure there. The question is, are they looking to get a long-term deal done with Patrick Queen? And I don't think the answer is yes there, Addy.
I don't think so either. You guys, Roquan just got paid, but also you got the big Lamar
That's
contract.
right. Do you think that gets done this offseason? Sounds like they're pretty far apart right now.
Yeah, he's going to get tagged, right, though, for the next 2 years at least.
Yeah, I would think so.
3rd year is always hard to tag.
I think that's his plan, though. I think he wants to get tagged twice.
That's fine.
And go the Kirk Cousins route.
I mean, Kirk Cousins made a boatload of money.
He is in the Business Hall of Fame.
Fit the whole system.
Yes, he did.
Man. So, could Lamar actually go to free agency this year? If
I
he
think he
doesn't-
would only be on a different team if he got traded.
I gotcha.
Because I think if they can't re-sign him, I think he'll play on the franchise tag.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
Man, it'd be a good offseason to go to try to, get some money elsewhere.
Because here's the
If you're a
thing.
quarterback,
This is what
yeah.
I've heard. They're about $100 million apart. And Lamar wants the Deshaun Watson fully guaranteed contract. A lot of teams, for various reasons, are hesitant to give any player fully guaranteed contracts. But I'm sorry, just give Lamar what he wants. Like,
Yeah.
what are we doing here, guys?
What else have you got to
Do you
put
wanna
butts
go-
in your seats?
Yeah, do you want to go back into the QB wilderness? Like,
Lamar's awesome. What are we
he's
doing?
an MVP.
And Lamar knew late in the season, too. He was like, look, this team sucks.
Yeah.
I'm not coming back. There's still some swelling in my knee. That's smart on you,
Then the
Lamar.
reports coming out about, well, I don't know. I think he might have been. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, who was it? Sammy Watkins.
Sammy
was
Watkins, like, bro, you just got here.
yeah, what do you do? Go talk about lizard people on some weird podcast, you freak.
How many teams have you been on?
But yes, Patrick Queen, I think, will be secure for the next 2 years. I think they'll pick up his option this spring, and I think he'll be in Baltimore for 2023 and 2024. So
Yeah, I don't see him as a long-term piece there because why? They've started adding a lot of younger guys. I mean, Kyle Hamilton, we think that he might materialize into something pretty good. And also, we could see very easily Kyle Hamilton kind of be their new linebacker.
Yep.
He's huge. He's already played a lot of box, a lot of slot. I think he would be fine for that job.
I do like Pat Queen for the next 2 years.
yeah,
though.
Yes,
for
definitely.
sure.
Yeah.
He's going to be an LB
Roquan raised
for you.
the water level for that entire defense, including Pat Queen. So I love it. Let's talk Devin White, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Could be the lone man in the linebacker room if Levante David is on a new team. And gentlemen, I think Levante David will be on a new team. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are about $55 million over the cap. So I do not think they will be bringing back Levante David as much as they want to.
Yeah.
I also don't really know what the Bucs' plans are with Tom Brady out the door. So let's talk about Devin White right now, though. 73 solos, 51 assists, 8 TFLs, 5.5 sacks, graded poorly, 45.5, but he did have a 71 pass rush grade, kind of like Pat Queen, Bobo. This is where we see Devin White excel. He played 1,076 snaps. That's good for 96% across 17 games played, 13.62 points per game. As Addy mentioned earlier, kind of a frustrating year for Devin White. He'll be playing on the 5th-year option in 2023, so he'll be looking for a new contract. I think the Bucs in the NFL are about to tell us what they think of Devin White, Bobo, and I'm very excited to see what that message is. A little scared, mostly scared, but also eager to see what this new contract looks like for Devin White.
Yeah, because we really haven't seen Devin White without Levante David yet, so that is a little bit worrisome. His talent is solid to me. I think his playing time obviously is elite. He's 96% snaps over the season. Could Devin White get better? Could he be a better player?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I
could
think
see
he
a-
could improve.
We could totally see a Roquan situation with Devin White, right? Like almost identical. I
How-
think there's a very good chance that Devin White's going to expect a very large deal. Tampa Bay is going to be in a spot where it's like, it doesn't really make sense for us to do this.
We're going to be rebuilding.
Yeah. They're going to probably
Go
trade
get
him.
your bag somewhere else.
I could
They'll-
easily see them
Fifth-
trade
that
him.
makes a lot of sense. 5th-year option, go trade this guy.
Yep.
Could you get some picks back for him? Probably.
Probably. Yeah.
And let him go get his money somewhere else. But you have him, at, I think you said 3 or 4 in your dynasty rankings, Addy?
He's number 3. Yeah.
With Foysaid right behind him.
I feel great about him this year. And then, yeah, I just could see the situation improving him getting a bag somewhere and still being secure, for another 2-3 years. And as many faults this guy has play-wise and PFF grade-wise, he is a playmaker. I mean, you don't just fall into that many sacks and make that many plays as he's made so far in his career.
The
Be a
IDP
fluke.
the IDPshow.com Adams ranks Devin White is 25 years old. In 2021, he averaged 13.6 points per game, and then this year that increased a little bit. This is a different scoring than what
Yeah,
we're
big
talking about
3.
here, but 15 points per game. So he increased his points per game over 2 points from 2021 to 2022. I don't know. I'm curious about Devin White because I think that the public perception of Devin White this offseason is going to be negative because everybody's going to be worried about, do they pay him long term? They don't have a ton of cap. What does he look like without the Levante David? But I agree with you, Adam. I think that we could really see more of a Roquan trajectory than we could, a negative season or a negative outlook for Devin White. So obviously when everybody else is going one direction is when I feel like it's smart to go the opposite. So as much as we don't want to take Devin White, as much as we don't want to buy Devin White because his ADP is so high, I don't know. It might be worth a couple feelers. There's not a lot of people that I really want to go get, like a Devin White that's like a top 6 guy, but he could be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Devin White gets a lot of hate just because he hasn't quite lived up to the heights we saw early on in his career. But the dude is still like rock solid for IDP. I mean, he's a sound investment. You feel good if you got him on your team. Maybe he's a little frustrating week to week because you are banking on some sack upside, but he could have the tackles with Levante David out the door, which I think Levante will be gone.
Devin White or Joey Bosa?
Devin White.
Devin White. I'm not a Bosa guy, man. I just think the name outpaces the game at this point.
People are frustrated with Bosa too. He's getting up there in years.
Devin White.
We caught him drinking the cherry, whatever.
I was gonna say with the Letterman jacket.
Yeah.
The vibes are bad right now.
Devin White or TJ Watt?
I'll take TJ Watt.
Yeah, I think so too.
You're correct. You answered correct.
Yes.
You have chosen.
That's what
wisely.
I have in the ranks.
You have Watt.
He's like,
10
what do I
overall.
have?
I'm sure.
Bobby's looking at them.
You have Devin White at 14 overall, and then you have Joey Bosa at 18 overall. So you passed. But don't
job.
look away.
Don't look at him.
Devin White or Derwin James, Josh?
Devin White.
Devin White.
Ooh, you're 2 for 3. You
got
have
Derwin
Derwin just a shade
You
ahead
need
of
to
Devin
rectify
White.
I may
that.
have to update that. I just feel like I'd rather have the linebacker, but maybe not. I mean, there's not a lot of good defensive backs. I mean, Derwin seems safe for another 3-4 years, right?
14.6
Yep.
points per game in 21 and 15 points per game
Yeah,
in
that's
2022.
nice.
He's signed, right? He's secure.
Yeah.
It's tough
at least
to find out
contract
of the
wise.
safety position.
I think he signed in 2021.
Bobo throwing out these great either or situations.
I don't know. This is just what I think about this time.
What
of
about
year.
you? Who would you rather have?
So I would rather have Devin White than Joey Bosa. I would rather have Devin White than TJ Watt. But I would probably rather have Derwin than Devin White. I don't know.
So you're saying you'd rather have
I'd rather
Derwin James than TJ Watt, essentially?
have sure.
By the transitive property of that exchange there?
Give me a headache.
I don't know.
You'd rather have Derwin Watt than Devin James?
That was a match.
What'd you say? Discount
Discount
James Corden?
No. What's the guy's name in King
Kevin
of Queens?
James.
Kevin James. There you
Adam
go.
Sandler's best
James
friend?
James Corden. He's the dude that does the car karaoke
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
He got canceled a few months ago.
He
I think.
did.
Bad to his staff, maybe, or
Yeah.
bad to somebody. No, bad to
The restaurant staff.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
he's
Real
total-
peace.
He's retiring. I think he's going back to England. So
Oh,
We're shipping him back to his own
like,
country.
no, we kind of canceled you, bro.
Yeah, you're out. You don't get to quit.
No one
We
likes you anymore.
canceled you. All right, so let's take a quick break and hear about our friends at Reality Sports Online and hear about a new resource from the IDP show that you do not want to miss, and we'll talk about it a little bit on the other side of the break. Y'all don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Everything happens. Everything happens fast. Everything happens. Everything happens fast.
The fantasy football offseason is here, which means it's time to kick back, relax, and start looking for new dynasty leagues. And if you're looking for something new that will truly challenge your skills as a fantasy manager, you need to check out Reality Sports Online. You've heard us talk about RSO on this podcast many times before because it truly is our favorite dynasty league, and for good reason. RSO takes everything you love about Dynasty Fantasy Football and cranks it up to 11. We're talking multi-year contracts, full IDP, IR and taxi squads, franchise tags, rookie drafts, contract extensions, rookie options, and a whole lot more. There is no instruction manual in an RSO league because each league is its own unique beast. It's just you and your proverbial machete hacking through the jungle trying to find shelter, and it is awesome. You will quickly become obsessed with building a team the way real NFL GMs build teams. Want to spend big on vets and chase a ring? You can. Want to build through the draft and set yourself up for years to come with a surplus of picks and cap space? Go for it. RSO is a blank canvas on which to create your masterpiece. If you want to try it out, we recommend starting with a free mock auction. That's another great feature of RSO, the free agent auction. We think once you get a taste of the unique features this platform offers, you'll be dying to jump into a real league. Once you're ready to start a league or join an existing one, keep listening to this podcast because once the Super Bowl is over, we'll have a promo code to get 10% off your site fee. In the meantime, head over to realitysportsonline.com and check out the mock auction feature. You're going to love it. Thanks again to RSO for sponsoring this episode and for building our favorite Dynasty League platform. Now back to the episode. The fantasy football. From the IDP show comes the IDP Crash Course, a pair of live interactive sessions for those who wish to understand IDP fantasy football at a deeper level. Host Jake Colhagen will be joined by Joey the Tooth and Kyle Bellyfield to walk you through both the basics of IDP, like league setup and positional overviews, and more advanced concepts like coaching schemes, positional value, and evaluating trades. Paid supporters at theidpshow.com can join us for free for the 2-night event on February 28th and March 7th. Both sessions begin at 8 p.m. Central and will last 90 minutes. Paid supporters will even be given 4 guest passes to invite friends or league mates. So bring your pals and bring your questions on February 28th and March 7th. And if you can't make it, don't worry. Paid supporters also get access to the replay so you can watch it at your leisure. If you want to attend but aren't a supporter yet, it's just $5 for the month, which gets you access to this course and a host of other cool perks like Adam's Dynasty and Best Ball rankings. So head on over to the idpshow.com and we'll see you on February 28th.
I don't really give a what about behind my back shit gets said. 'Cause anything slippery and persistent is good with me. Anything slippery and persistent is good with me.
All right, welcome back to the IDP show. I'm thankful for the mute button on Rhodey tonight, Bobo.
Always.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yes, sir.
Well, we heard about, I don't even know. My brain is so scrambled. We heard about RSO. We've talked about them a little bit. We obviously love reality sports online. But, gentlemen, I am very excited about the IDP Crash Course. We got that coming here at the end of February. The first session kicks off February 28th. Our boy Jake Colhagen is going to be leading that, along with help from Joey the Tooth and Kyle Bellyfuel. You'll get a introductory kind of overview in the first session, and then the next week you'll get into some of those deeper concepts. Addy, anyone that just wants to be a little more familiar, a little more comfortable with IDP, this is going to be the resource that you want to check out, and it's going to be free for subscribers and paid supporters over at theidpshow.com.
That's right. If you don't want to be a loser, if you ever want to amount to anything in life, you need to take this course.
I should have let you do the ad read.
All right.
It's not too late. It's not too late.
For just $69.99, 8 easy installments of it, right?
Eight installments of $69.99. That is a ridiculously expensive course, but it's going to be free if you're a paid supporter over at the
Professor
IDP
Jake.
show. That's true. Professor Jake does demand. What is that? Almost like 70 times. That's like. How much is that, Bobo? Is that like 50?
$560.
$560 bucks?
I think so.
Somewhere in there, around
That's a lot. That's a lot, and especially with inflation.
Sure.
I got to be able to afford eggs, Addy.
Sound off in the comments what that is, guys. If you would.
Yeah, help us with the math. We did have some people say how much they love sleep last time, so
Yeah.
that was fun.
Thank you for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. We love sleep as well. But check that out, theidpshow.com. You'll have guest passes, so if you have people in your league that aren't paid supporters over at the website, you can give them one of the guest passes and they can attend.
Yeah.
We'll have the replay available for paid supporters. It'll be in the IDP Show draft kit. Bobo, we're just trying to take care of the folks who take care of us.
That's epic,
That's
man.
it.
That's gonna be a great little course. That's gonna be awesome. You got 2 people who are really knowledgeable in IDP. I'm just thankful for the people that we're friends with in here. You know,
We
the
got some good friends.
the people that we
Very smart folks.
people we link arms with, the people that we our kind of crew. Thankful for those guys. We got some good dudes in here.
Good people just seem to find each other.
I was waiting for a
Knew
folksy
something was
saying.
coming. It was coming.
You could see it loading up. You could
Sure.
see the
Buffering.
the wheels turning.
Salt
very,
of the earth.
very, very slowly.
So we started with a coffee. Now we're on to the Monster.
That's
I'm
right.
so scared that this man is not going to sleep
I can
tonight.
hear my heartbeat in my
I
head.
was going to say, it's all up here. A lot of voices and a lot of heartbeats.
There's going to be a fun second half.
Yes. Not a fun second half, though, for Jordan Brooks, who Just
That was
yeah,
great.
Best in the
Josh.
best,
That
best
was
in the
great.
best.
It doesn't make any sense. I don't know
underpaid,
what the second
underrated.
half we're talking about here, but I had to do something.
Towards ACL in the second half.
I was going to say second half of the year. There we go.
Elite
What are
asset.
the odds
Move him up in the ranks.
that we're going to see Jordan Brooks play in 2023, y'all? He didn't have surgery, until January 19th.
Yeah.
He's also up for his 5th-year option. So maybe the better question is, have we reached the end of the road for Jordan Brooks in Seattle, period?
I would imagine so. That's tough. You hate to see that for Jordan Brooks. But yeah, I mean, it's just the way it goes. I mean,
Because if he's out for this season and they decline the 5th-year option, that's it.
I can already
It's
tell you.
over in Seattle.
I can already tell you, people are going to be overdrafting this dude. Do not draft. If you
He's
make
on a
it,
do not
if you
draft
make a
list,
do not
man.
draft list, he's on it. Rashawn Gary's on it. Basically, all the guys coming back. Even the Harold Landry. I know it was early in the year. No, thank you. Still too much for me.
I think we're seeing now it's about a 2-year recovery, Bobo, before guys are really, truly back to the players they were pre-injury.
And I know that everybody wants to think that like ACLs aren't that big of a deal anymore, but they really are. You know, especially some of these guys that have multiple tears in there. Like it's not just an ACL, but it's also like a, I don't know, like a PCL and also an MCL sprain. Yeah, Jordan Brooks was bad before his ACL injury. This is gonna, his ADP, his value is just gonna plummet. I mean, what do you have him at in the ranks? He's got to be just crazy far down. I don't know if you've.
Yeah, I'll read
adjusted
some
it
of the
that
stats here while
often.
Addie's looking. 103 solos, 58 assists, and like we've said, this guy's always just been a tackle machine. 3 TFLs, 1 sack,
Yeah,
a forced fumble and a recovery,
Nothing.
5 pass breakups. It's just very little activity outside of tackles.
I've got him at LB14, but that's probably going to continue to go down. I mean, that was a guy that was. I think he was. We did a top 8 linebacker show.
Didn't make the
a
cut.
few months ago. I think he was. He
Did
was.
he make the
He was
cut?
top 5 at that
That was
point.
before the ACL.
Exactly.
Yep.
But yeah, post ACL, yeah, I mean, he's dropped 10 spots now.
Because it's just opened up so much uncertainty.
And he'll continue to drop.
yeah, he'll free fall.
I mean, I think we could easily see people like N'Kobe Dean, Troy Anderson, and they probably already should be ahead
Brian
of
Asamoah
Right.
pushing up the ranks. As people push up the ranks, naturally, Addie, people have to come down the ranks.
Yep.
And it seems like Jordan Brooks is an obvious candidate. CJ Mosley, some of these other guys we've talked about are obvious candidates to fall.
There's no way to slice it for Jordan Brooks. That injury was the worst timing of all the injuries. Probably.
January 19th. I mean, even on a
Just for like career wise,
Yeah.
like on a contract year where you're probably going to be motivated to hopefully play your best ball you've ever played. You're literally the only linebacker in the room, and you tear your ACL.
Yep.
Second to last week of the year.
Yep.
Just
because he
horrible
played
luck.
16 games, so he only missed the one game.
Because I think they would have. I mean, they did invest a first round pick in the
Yes.
guy. I feel like he would have.
They would have picked up the option. Now I think it's going to be a real question.
I don't think they do it now because I mean next year's going to be washed. right?
Earliest he could come back is like probably Halloween, and that's on a good 9-month recovery timeline.
no chance from January that he's playing in Halloween. I think it's probably optimistic that like a Harold Landry's playing by Halloween. I'm with Adam. I'm not drafting some of these guys who had these terrible injuries this year. Rashawn Gary for me, no thank you. Harold Landry is going to be a big red flag also. I mean, maybe if these guys just stupid fall in some of these drafts and you can just kind of throw darts on them at the end. But what we're seeing so far is people still really
Rashawn Gary still being drafted like in the 4th, 5th round. Where meanwhile, old what's his face, Preston Smith is just
Yeah.
out there lingering
Yeah.
still.
Just out there hanging out.
healthy
Yep.
as could be. Great
Yep.
legs.
Good legs, knees, all look
ACLs
great.
intact.
Heart may be bad, but
Yeah.
legs and knees look fine.
Can't help that.
Let's talk about number 14 on the list, Bobby Okereke of the Indianapolis Colts, pending free agent, 99 solos, 52 assists, graded pretty well, 73.3, 79.3 run defense. He played 968 snaps. That's 85% across 17 games. He started 16, 13.34 points per game. I believe in Bobby O. I put my money where my mouth is. I gave him an extension in RSO. He was PFF's 22nd graded linebacker. He is only 26.5 years old. I think he is smack in his prime, and I think he will be one of the top, let's say, 3 linebackers getting paid in free agency. I don't think it'll be back with Indianapolis, but I think this dude is going to go somewhere and play very well. I like him as a really solid LB2. I don't think it really diminishes the outlook for me much.
I'm not really interested.
I'm kind of interested just because I feel like if Bobby O didn't have Zaire Franklin have his year and then Shaq Leonard be there as well, we would probably be talking more about Bobby O. I get what you're saying.
I think that's the only reason we are talking about him is because Leonard was hurt.
And
It was going to be the Shaq Leonard and Zaire Franklin show. And then Bobby O would have come in for the scraps.
150 tackles on the season, though.
Oh, that was totally surprising to me. I was like, damn, I didn't realize he had that type of stuff.
And he's a good
80
player. I mean, he graded well. 22nd graded player by PFF. That's what gives me hope. He's
did
young.
did get benched, though.
He did
Yeah.
get benched. That's right. So I think, though, that it's a new situation, new surroundings could do him some good.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be an LB3, and he could maybe have some LB2 weeks.
Yeah.
The contract's going to really determine how
Yeah.
how confident we are in these guys. If we see, him getting a 1 year, $5 million deal, no, we're going to not be very
That's
excited.
a big red flag.
Right, but if it's a 3 year, $30 million deal, then yes, wheels up. Even if it's like 2 years, 20, like I'll be into that stuff. But I'm gonna be scared if it's just a bunch of 1 year deals, and I'm afraid there's a good chance just because, like we've mentioned, there is a ton,
There's a ton.
and all these guys are the exact same.
It's
so
really-
why do you want to pay?
There's not a
the
star
most?
of the bunch.
Right? Why do you want to pay the most for
Yep.
a guy that's
All
similar
the
to the
GMs
rest?
calling each other saying, hey, look, if we all keep these
All 1 year
numbers low.
deals. This is collusion, but let's not tell anyone that we're having this conversation.
Sure.
Yeah, I think there could be a situation where somebody's agent needs to get like Agent of the Year award if you get your linebacker client a 3-year, $33 million deal or something like that. Because I think a lot of these guys are going to be up for like 1 year, $8 million, 1 year, $10 million, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
because
they might play him against them. Be like,
There's
"Okay,
no star of the show, right?
okay, Bobby O, you're not going to take that. That's fine. We've got TJ Edwards on the phone right now.
Yep.
We got Levante David.
I don't know how
David
any of that
Long.
works. I'm not pretending like I do, but you've
Lot
got to
of
know
options.
some of those conversations are going to be had.
I don't think you can be too confident about really any of these guys long term.
It's going to be like the Colts head coaching little debacle right now, where one guy walks out from his second interview and another guy's on his way in.
Yeah, looking like disheveled because he's been talking to Jim Irsay for 12 hours straight.
Yeah.
And also, just how quickly do things change in the NFL? Like, a GM that hands out a big contract this offseason, he might get fired the next
Exactly.
offseason. You know what I mean? And so, like, there's immediately no loyalty. They want to, wash their hands clean of everything that dumb GM did. It's just things change so fast.
The only thing that really I think you can take security in is those situations where the dead money, that's what gives me hope with Shaq Leonard is like it would cost more to cut this guy
Exactly right.
than to keep him. So he's going to be on the team. It's a matter of is he healthy? So that really is the only thing I'm banking on, not the numbers that we hear from the agents and that Schefter tweets out. Like, what does it look like on the dead money? Can the team get out of this deal? Because things do change quickly.
And that's the thing with Shaq Leonard too, is like, do you want to have to deal with that headache on your IDP team? Do you want to have to check the injury stuff every single week to see like, well, he was he practiced on Thursday and some limited participation. I don't know. I hate that kind of stuff the more and more I play IDP. Give me the guys that are healthy. I talked about that with Sig on our episode this year. How often do you play questionable guys? Because he was talking about how all these guys are playing through injuries that nobody even really knows about. I've got some core injury that's going on the better part of like 2 months now, and I'm kind of getting back to normal, but it's like I'm 35-year-old, unathletic. I'm not a 25-year-old.
You're just playing disc golf.
Dude, I know. I'm just trying to throw some Frisbees, man.
Just trying to toss the frizz around.
Leave me alone.
And for context here, Bobby O is on a linebacker group with Devin White, Willie Gay, Brian Asamoah, Divine Diablo. So he's just one of several dart throws that I've got. So it's not like I'm like, oh God, if Bobby O doesn't pan out in my linebacker
How much was
room
he?
is
You're talking about in your best ball?
No, in RSO.
Oh, gotcha.
I
yeah.
gave him an extension. He's $3.96 million.
No, don't.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
I love Bobby O as a LB 3 or 4, but I think if you're looking for this guy to like ascend in his new role,
no.
I think
I think he's going to hang out right around that same range
That's
where
solid. That's
I think
fine.
most people had him. He ended up at 14 here.
maybe give you a linebacker 2 year.
Yeah, that's what I think. The sunny outlook for me is he lands in a good spot. He puts up LB2 numbers. He's somewhere in this like 15 to 20 range, and you can plug him in maybe half the weeks.
Or was
if
he
you need him.
already in the sunniest spot?
Yeah.
No, I mean, he had
Does it-
Zaire Franklin. He wasn't even
150 tackles.
the
though.
clear LB2.
Ain't a lot of them.
Does it get any sunnier? 85% of the snaps.
I think it can. I think it can be a better situation for Bobby O.
Okay, so if Bobby O
Not
goes,
saying it will be, just it could.
Bobby O goes somewhere and Shaq Leonard is hurt again next year, are we going to have to pay attention to EJ Speed?
Yes. You
think
should
so?
be, I think. I don't know is EJ Speed still under contract, but anyway, anytime he gets an opportunity, that guy stuffs the
He-
stat
I
sheet.
Yes.
saw a lot of EJ Speed at the end of the season.
Yeah,
they
you
have
did.
they have a third or Forrest Ryan. I mean, don't forget that name.
Yeah.
That was a linebacker drafted last year. I remember seeing that question on one of our YouTube videos, and I was like, Forrest Ryan, who the hell is this? And I remember asking the same thing about Darius Leonard. So
I feel like they replace Bobby O with somebody. It'll be like they'll wait until all the scraps are left.
Yes.
But again, those scraps will still be solid. I think.
yeah, oh yeah, a lot of guys.
Kaiser
It'll be like
White.
or like a Denzel Perriman type.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
something like that. It'll
Josie is Josie Jewell a free agent?
He's
Or is-
still he's under contract.
He's under contract one more year. Well, let's talk about the handsome one himself out of Buffalo. It is Matt Milano clocking in at 15. He was 73 solos, 27 assists, 12 TFLs, 1.5 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries, 11 pass breakups, 3 INTs, and an INT touchdown. Played 96% of snaps, 947 snaps across 15 games played. Good for 15.08 points per game, 73.7 PFF grade overall. Now, Bobo, the Bills have an out in his contract in 2023, but they don't use it, right? I mean, Milano was the 12th graded linebacker by PFF in 2022. Tremaine Edmonds is out the door, I think. Milano's safe in Buffalo, right?
I think what you're saying with Tremaine Edmonds being out the door is probably the reason why Matt Milano will stay. I don't know. We've seen a little bit of regression here from Matt Milano. Plays 90% of the snaps, but it only barely breaks the 100 tackle. Actually, he had 100 tackles on the season. Milano is the type of guy that really shines as an LB2. He's not really an LB1 to me, but he is fun from a, not necessarily a big play because he has some 12 TFLs, 1.5 sacks, but then he's in his 82.2 coverage grade. It's pretty indicative
This
of
dude's
his
a great NFL linebacker.
11 pass breakups and his 3 interceptions. Matt
There you
Milano is not an LB1. He's an LB2 to me.
11 PDs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that led all linebackers. Fred Warner was 10. So, yeah, there you go. We've talked about this before. Pass deflections usually give you a good idea of who's actually good in coverage.
And that's what I was getting ready to say. The 2 linebackers you hear talked up as the best linebackers in the NFL, Fred Warner, Matt Milano.
Yep.
So no surprise to see these guys
What if
1 and 2 in pass breakups.
What if the Bills move on from him? I know that's far-fetched, but what
then
if?
Will's the hell up for Terrell Bernard.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Third round pick.
He
maybe
truly
fourth
is
round
the
pick.
Will Smith gif.
Yeah. But either way, I mean, like we've seen the past 5-6 years, like they've both those linebackers are going to be fine, I think, if Bernard ends up being the second guy.
My only thing, though, is Buffalo's kind of broken.
Oh, yeah.
I know they were in the playoffs, but
Once Von Miller went down,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
It's like,
That
oh,
team-
this team isn't that good.
Jordan Poyer's
That's
kinda
what they
older.
went and got Von Miller to fix, and then he goes out, and it's like, crap, we're right back in the
They're
same
old.
spot.
Yeah,
Micah
Micah Hyde.
Yep.
Yep, Jordan
Jinx.
Poyer.
No running backs.
Poyer's probably gone. I didn't realize he was expiring as
Yeah,
well.
he's probably gone.
Yep.
The cornerbacks are just, aging. Tre'Davious White's not Tre'Davious White anymore.
Teron Johnson's sneaky option, but
I did
Yeah.
like your Ed Oliver pick today.
no, thank you.
Yeah.
I got that out
piece
of Adam's
trash. Of course
best
he
ball
did.
ranks.
That's who I was had queued up.
Guys,
you
I'm
know,
going literally right down the line. I'm like, there's the next
Yeah.
guy. There's the next
Right
guy.
down the line.
Right
He's
down the line.
not-
And you can do that and have a great draft because
really
Adam's
will.
ranks are fire.
Is
They're
Vaughn
fine.
there again next year?
Yes, he is. He signed a big ass deal.
And what do we think about Von Miller? Are you interested in redraft Von Miller?
I passed him in best ball, and I thought
best
for a
ball,
second,
yes.
Mid years when he tore his, but it's like Von Miller's like, I don't really want to. I'm okay taking the shot on Von Miller at this point. I think
And isn't Von Miller like 32?
32, 30, he's up there, dude. He's like 33, 34.
I'll take
I
a
think.
shot in best ball because if he doesn't pan out, then fine. But I don't know, depending on where he's being taken,
I don't know. I still
that may be too
It's
rich.
tough, but you feel like he knows that these years really matter. Like he knows that his time is coming.
And
So-
Buffalo's a Super Bowl
and
contender.
their windows
That's what
now,
you came here for.
right? So I feel like if he can, he will.
I don't
They
know.
truly need him, man. But that was the difference. Like once he
It
went
was.
down, it's like, oh yeah, this team is average.
Absolutely.
That team
So
kinda sucks.
Not average, though,
Yep.
is Micah Parsons, our
It's
16th
the worst team in the league.
Yeah,
ranked
seriously.
linebacker. God, I
Josh
spent all
Allen,
over my
sell.
computer, you idiots. 16th overall here. Again, another guy that will be moving to defensive end when we make the switch after the Super Bowl. 42 solos, 23 assists, 14 tackles for loss, 13 and a half sacks, 6 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, a fumble recovery return, 3 pass breakups, 91.6 grade by PFF, 92.1 pass rush grade, 80% of snaps, 919 total across 17 games played, good for 13.14 points per game. This is where you see the difference in our Big Three scoring versus our RSO league, which does not score QB hits. So you see Micah Parsons drop down. I think he was number 1 overall.
I think that's a good thing to point out. Big Three scoring, you're going to see these edge guys, these offensive linemen, you're going to see them score more. And why is that? Because we think about what we're doing when we set up our scoring. The best players on defense are those guys on your defensive line. Those are the guys that make the biggest impact. When I set out to make the scoring, I wanted to make those guys the highest scores. So that's what we did.
And it's QB hits. That's, I think, the difference you see here.
QB hits, we do sack yards.
Yeah, that's why you see like a Judon is lower, Micah Parsons is lower.
And we have our tackles are down. We're not going to inflate stats on tackles. Like
yeah,
if
1.25 for solos.
there's leagues out there where like Zaire Franklin was like a top 3 overall option. No, that should be a Max Crosby, a Nick Bosa. That no.
Well, it's a topic I was talking with Jake today about for the IDP crash course. Scoring, Bobo, my philosophy is different scoring systems are going to have different points of emphasis. Tackle heavy is going to emphasize linebackers. Big play, like what we have, is going to emphasize those guys who can get sacks and interceptions. Of course, sacks are a little more predictable and kind of trackable year over year. Interceptions are a little more random. But the point is, Adam has always famously said, make sure you're scoring. There's the phone.
Yeah.
Make sure your scoring isn't whack.
Yeah.
And what I told Jake is, the way I interpret that is, make sure that something isn't out of whack with your scoring, that certain players that shouldn't be miles above everyone else, make sure that it all just kind of makes sense. Does it pass the
Make it make
logic
sense.
check, right? That's how I view scoring.
I love that. If you look at Micah Parsons in our listener league, and let's just move him to a defensive end here. Micah Parsons would have been the defensive end 4 behind Max Crosby, Nick Bosa, Myles Garrett, and right ahead of Hassan Reddick. So that makes sense for me. Man, Micah Parsons is a guy I don't have really rostered anywhere because I don't know. I don't know why. I know Micah Parsons is fun and he gets a lot of play. You know, when you've got Buck and Troy Aikman talking about your games or whatever, they're just, spewing about Micah Parsons this and Micah Parsons that. I don't know. I know he's awesome. I know he's an elite IDP. I just don't really have him anywhere. I don't know.
He's expensive.
He's just kind of a guy I don't have a real opinion
Kind of hard
about.
to attain.
Yeah.
He was DL3 in Big Three scoring behind Max Crosby and Nick Bosa. But you look at those two guys, Crosby was 338.6, Bosa was 330. Micah Parsons at number 3 was 285.
Yeah.
So quite a ways behind those top 2 guys.
It was a down year for Parsons.
Yeah.
I think we expected him to, and the sacks numbers were still the exact same. I think, didn't he have 13 and a half? He had that last year.
Yep. 13 and a half.
Yeah, just a down year, I think, production wise, but I still think there's another level Micah Parsons can reach. That is why he is my number 1 overall IDP asset.
Yep.
The guy is 24.
But am I weird to just kind of be like, I don't know, Micah Parsons is cool. I just don't really get, I don't know. Maybe it's because I don't roster him anywhere.
Are we hot in the pants? We're typically not hot in the pants for a lot of these guys that are tops at their scoring category because of their position because they're expensive. And we're just
Exactly.
not going to pay the
That's what
sticker
it
price
is.
for these guys.
I love Micah Parsons. I think he's an awesome player. One of the best players in the league.
You're in one of these, well, you just answered the question. If I've got a top 3 pick in one of these best balls or if I've got a top 3 pick in like a new dynasty startup or something, I guess I'm probably taking Micah Parsons.
In a best ball, no doubt.
Yes.
If I have a top 3 pick, he needs to be selected within those first 3
If I'm at
picks.
the 101 of any of these best balls that we do, I'm going Micah
he's
Parsons.
in consideration.
Yeah. Going
I
Parsons.
think you can go him or Bosa or Crosby.
Crosby.
Feel
Yeah,
good.
any of
Even
those
Watt,
would be
even
great.
TJ Watt. You know,
Yep.
if you're expecting Brittle Bones to bounce back.
Brittle bones, bad heart. As long as he's not wearing Letterman jackets and pounding Bud Light cherries.
That's true.
Blue.
But yeah, Micah Parsons is great. You don't need us to tell you that
He's amazing.
Is
that
Bu-
he's amazing.
Is Bud Light Cherry, is that a seltzer? Is that like a White Claw?
Probably. I
Probably,
feel like
yeah.
it's, yeah.
Probably
Gotcha.
pretty
I don't know.
gross.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, sure.
Would not know.
Let's talk about
Proud to
Alex
say.
Alex Singleton, guys, or as John Macri likes to call him, Alex Kingleton.
I love this, and I also kind of hate this because I know he's going to get drafted now before he can get back to me. Alex Singleton. Did you guys know that he put up 100 tackles 3 straight years?
Did he really?
He really did.
That's amazing.
He really did, and people just keep wanting to fade this guy and not have anything to do with him. But 3 years in a row, he's gone over 100 tackles.
Adam and his Broncos linebackers.
Hey, it's a great scheme.
It's a great
And so, I mean,
scheme.
yeah, you're right about the Carolina Panthers thing. Like,
Yeah, getting Steve Wilkes.
that should make your ears perk
It
up.
doesn't worry me because it's like Carolina had 2 IDP relevant linebackers with Frankie Louvu and Shaq Thompson. Steve Wilkes is a great defensive coach, even though I hated losing a Giro Evero. I think Steve Wilkes, I guess he's in San Francisco. So who is Denver getting? Have they announced their defensive
I don't think
coordinator
they've
yet?
announced yet,
Because
have
they lost
They
Evero.
just lost him,
Wilkes went to San Francisco. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. So that's great for Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw. I think Sean Payton's defensive coordinator hire is going to be very important. But yeah, Alex Singleton, Bobo. John Macri had him as Alex Kingleton. Mine was Alex Singleskill, which is tackling. So sound off in the comments which nickname you like better.
It's pretty interesting to me that he had 160 tackles on 68% of the snaps. He wasn't huge in the big play department, 6 TFLs, 3 pass breakups. I don't know. Adam's going to hate this. I'm only minimally interested. I feel like the next team is going to be very dependent on his playing time and his value in some of these, best ball startups. He's going to be faded. But where he goes is going to be very dependent.
Listen, I'm not a Singleton stan at all. I just think it's pretty funny that dude has
He is an unstoppable force.
3 straight years.
crazy.
We keep on fading. We keep on making fun of him. The guy just continues to produce anytime he gets an opportunity. And also, like, whenever he does get his chance, like, it's week winning variety. Like, that guy stuffs the stat sheet. Like, what did he have? He had like a 20-plus tackle game this year,
he
right?
did. He absolutely
More than
did.
that. What was it?
I'll have to look it up.
But
I think it was 23
But
tackles.
he does that stuff every single time he gets a chance. So, I mean, yeah, I'm okay having that guy on the roster, just knowing that if he gets an opportunity via injury, via whatever, that he's going to be probably a top 12 linebacker.
Truly, I said pending free agent. Does he eat where he ends up? I think he does. I think this guy is Pac-Man. He's just eating those dots wherever
We
he
keep
goes.
trying to kill him. He's not
going
away.
to die.
Dude, he had 2 20 tackle games this season.
God.
You want that guy on your team.
Yes, you do.
Week 6, on 93 snaps, he had 21 tackles. But more impressively, against the Rams in Week 16, on 57 snaps, he had 20 tackles.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a tackle
Good for
every
you.
3 snaps.
Yeah.
Good for you, Alex.
He's about to get drafted in our best ball draft by one of these douchebags. So
Thank you, douchebags, for being in the draft. We love you guys so much. But don't draft Alex. Just let Addy have this. He does the ranks. He gets the leagues
That's
together.
one thing.
Just let him have single
let me
skill.
have him.
Let's talk about number 18, Hassan Reddick. This is another player that will be switching to edge, but classified as a linebacker here.
I want to talk about him because
Okay,
I want
go
you to give
for it,
your
Bobo.
opinion. Hassan Reddick, 35 solos, 14 assists, 11 TFLs, 16 sacks, 6 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, and 3 pass breakups. He had an overall defensive grade of 81.1. He had a pass rush grade of 90.0. He did have a terrible tackle grade
That's
of
really bad.
28.4.
Laughably bad.
It's really, really bad. But he did play 817 snaps, which comes out to 74% on the season, 13.02 points per game. Josh, you just recently took Hassan Reddick really high in a best ball draft, and I would like to know why.
You'd have to ask Adam why he had him ranked so high in the best ball ranks. No, I felt good about that pick. I took him in the 2nd round. I think I'm at the 9 spot in that draft.
Yeah.
So it would have been like the 15th or 16th overall pick. Here's the question I have. We keep waiting for regression to hit. But Reddick has had double-digit sacks in
years.
3 straight seasons after having just 7.5 sacks in his first 3 seasons. Now, we know he was famously miscast in Arizona, and since he landed with, he's Philadelphia, he was Carolina. Was there another stop somewhere?
No, I don't think
I
so.
think it was Carolina and Philadelphia. Maybe there was another one in there. Did he have his first double-digit sack season with Arizona before he hit free agency? Maybe that's what it was.
I think it was just
hair
Carolina.
under,
Yeah.
maybe. I don't remember.
It
But yeah, I think you're right, because he was in Carolina 2 years.
I think he was just the 1 year. It was a 1-year deal with Matt Rule, and then he signed a 3-year deal with Philadelphia this past offseason.
The skepticism was with the transition from Carolina and Brian Burns and how elite he was and how he was kind of cleaning up sacks for people. I know that was kind of the talk in the offseason, but 74% of the snaps played for the Eagles and 16 sacks. Now, here's the question. Does much of that defensive line change from 2022 to 2023?
Hargrave's probably
Hargrave's
gone.
probably
Okay.
gone.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
But
They do have a lot of defensive tackles.
yeah, Jordan Davis,
Milton
Milton Williams,
Williams.
big
Yeah.
fan of him.
Those are
Yeah.
probably the 2 guys because I'd say Linval's gone
Fletcher
and
Cox,
Sue is
yeah.
gone. I think Fletcher Cox may still be there.
Yeah.
But it's probably they just paid Josh Sweat 2 years ago, 1 year ago maybe.
He'll be there.
Yeah, so it's still going to be Sweat and Hassan Reddick. Thank God Jim Schwartz is gone, so some of these guys can actually get some real playing time now, and it's not just a revolving door. Hassan Reddick seeing 74% of the snaps is pretty fun, but I agree. I loved it when I saw you take him in the second round. I was like, man,
Yeah.
that's a great take right there.
You got to give him his flowers, man. 15.2% pressure rate.
Yep.
That's elite. 16 sacks. I mean, and then, yeah, the what's around him is still really good, regardless of what leaves. I mean, I think we both feel really good about Milton Williams and Jordan Davis.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
it's-
And then Josh Sweat, we know that we like him quite a bit. So it's a great situation.
And the other thing too is we're sitting here looking at a guy who's got 50 sackles. Wow, that was awesome.
Back and tax.
I don't know what I was including there, but 50 tackles. I almost did it again. 11,
50 shekels.
11 tackles for loss and 6 forced fumbles. I mean, this guy's just a baller.
An
This guy's a
absolute
great
menace.
player. And he took out,
He took out Brock Purdy.
took out his UCL. Now it's
Yep.
Trey Lance season again. Hey, he should
Make,
be your
make
dog.
no mistake, they were about to get stomped. stomped.
It was happening.
Brock Purdy did not have anything to do with the outcome of that game.
It was the Cardinals 2020. He was with the Cardinals. He had 12 and a half sackles in 2020 with the Cardinals. So he's had double-digit sacks 3 straight years with 3 different teams.
the question has to
Mad impressive.
has to be asked: why did Carolina let a guy like that go?
Because he probably wanted a lot of money.
Well, wasn't it? He was brought in by Matt Rule,
Yep.
right? His Temple coach. So
Okay.
yeah, and he just wanted too much money.
Yeah.
I got you.
They
Makes sense.
probably
But they're probably regretting that.
they're like, yeah, we maybe should have brought
but
that guy
you
back.
know, Reddick probably didn't want to go there.
Yeah.
Either.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
oh,
It was- he knew what he
Philadelphia's
was doing.
going to
It
give
was-
me a bag.
It was a
and
1-year prove it deal.
Yep. He
Yeah.
proved it, and he went and got his money somewhere else.
Went to a smart team.
Yep. Like
Reddick's
the
a-
Eagles, and now he's playing for a Super Bowl.
And that's another thing, like, it's a smart team that took him and gave him that money, and he produced. So I was like, okay,
All right.
maybe Hassan Reddick is just really, really good.
I think he was miscast at the beginning of his career. I think he has
Definitely.
shown this dude is special.
Arizona just a really dumb
Just a
team. it
dumpster
seems.
fire.
He's a little older than I would like. He's 28.4.
Yeah, I mean, if you can cash out, now's the time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because yes, you're right. You probably have another 2 years in that prime, maybe. But I do feel like this is probably your
This
career
is
year.
peak. Yep.
16 sacks is pretty nice.
It's great. We probably see something in the neighborhood of 12 to
12, yeah.
14 next year, right?
I could see that. 20 sack season incoming for Hassan Reddick.
He just
ridiculous.
He's tired.
Keeps
Of
the
the,
sit- yeah.
We just keep disrespecting him. This was great, but he is going to come
Yeah,
down.
he is going to come back to earth. And he's like, you just watch. The next guy, Addy, I want you to talk about here, number 19 on the list, Eric Kendricks, the Minnesota Vikings, 88 solos, 49 assists, 8 tackles for loss, 1,095 snaps played, good for 94% on the season, 61.1 PFF grade, 13.01 points per game. We've talked about on the last episode, good chance he's cut, Addy. Just help us read the tea leaves and look into the future and tell us what you're thinking on Eric Kendricks.
Yeah, I think him getting cut is very likely. But, I think it also would be likely that he lands in a probably decent situation, wherever that is. He's a solid linebacker. 61.1 PFF grade, though. That was down than what we've been used to in the past. But I think that's actually been a trend the last couple years. He's not what he once was, but he can still be productive for IDP. He'll be another one of these guys. That's the thing. It's like it's not just the free agents, but what about the cut casualties, or the cap casualties? Cut.
The C.J. Mosleys, the Eric Kendricks. Yeah, we could
Right.
see some big names getting out there on the open market.
But I'm fine. I mean, he's going to be I don't know. He was kind of drafted high in the best ball, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. I thought higher than he needed to be. That's what I wrote down here. If his ADP is going to fall, it means that I'm going to be interested because another
Right.
team is going to pick him up, and he may only be relevant for another year or two. But in best ball, redraft, even maybe minimally in dynasty as an LB3, that you can kind of count on. I like Eric Kendrick still. I know he's getting paid probably too much money, but if he goes to a good situation, I could see where I'm going to roster him.
Tupelo Babo, Levante David, or Eric Kendricks on a new team.
Ooh,
Levante David.
I would say Levante David as well.
it's really team dependent to me.
Kendricks is really fallen
Okay,
hard.
He needs life alert.
I'll say
Get this man up off the floor.
I'll say Levante David then. I'll go with y'all.
All right, let's talk about.
Man, that team's gonna be different next year.
They got some tough decisions
Brian
to make, man.
Asamoah, LB1, Jordan Hicks.
New defensive coordinator. Jordan Hicks is gone.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll see. They'll probably bring in one of these guys too.
you like the hire?
Oh yeah, Brian Flores, new defensive coordinator for the Vikes.
Yeah, I think it's
that's
great.
very nice.
I mean, expect to see them get after the quarterback. I think he blitzes more than anyone else in the NFL. I think I saw that. So that's
Daniil
good
Hunter.
news for a player like Asamoah, who's extremely active and aggressive.
Let's go. Go back and listen to the last episode. We
Took
talked
him
a lot
at-
about Asamoah.
Took Asamoah at 9-11. Never forget.
I
in
was
the best
like,
ball draft.
I wondered why you said never forget after I was like, the dude's locked in. I was like, is he just saying he never forgets picks?
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was the 11th pick of the ninth round.
Sir.
I just love how the longer
did
we do
forget,
this,
though.
the more Josh continues to flex on who he has rostered in RSO.
I
I'm
got to
loving
flex
it.
on something. I got
Team's picking up.
like 4 offensive players, y'all.
Hey,
We are in full blown rebuild mode.
Team's picking up.
Yeah, he's like Asamoah's like your LB6.
Yeah. Got Diablo, Devin White, Willie Gay.
I was talking to Lauren on
AJ
the phone
Johnson.
because that's the type of guy that I am one day this week. And, man, in true position, LBs are really valuable, man. You start looking around, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, my gosh, there's so many defensive ends available on the waiver wire. And the best linebacker that you can find is, like, Micah Kaiser. I mean, it gets
does.
bleak pretty quick.
I think it balances though a little better.
It does.
I just hated it. We just weren't able to use those guys, man.
Yeah.
That's just silly.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying.
But you're right. It does give you some value to the linebackers.
We
you
got
had.
a couple more guys here as we round out this episode that fall into that conversation because it's like, Bobo, at no point should Matthew Judon be coming in at number 20 on a list of IDPs based on the season he just had. But here we go. 20th ranked LB, 26 solos. I mean, I think this stat line.
Yeah, it's updated now.
It's updated. Okay,
We're
so
good.
26 solos, 11 assists, 14 TFLs, 15 and a half sacks, 2 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, and 1 pass breakup. Played 860 snaps, good for 76% across 17 games, 12.98 points per game. Addy, I'm going to cue you up first just so Bobby and I have all the information. Will you please give us the splits on Matthew Judon?
20.5 points per game, weeks 1 through 9. 10.9, weeks 10 through 18.
So he pulled another vanishing act in the back
Yeah,
half of the season. is
Pulled
what you're telling
another
us.
Matthew Judon.
Yep.
Matt Judon or Hassan Reddick moving forward.
Reddick.
Hassan Reddick. Reddick's also got like 2 years on Judon. That's the thing with Judon. He's low key kind of old. I think he's gonna be 31.
It's a tough age.
Yeah, it's tough. I like Judon. People
He's 30 and a half right now.
people really like Judon though. I mean, he's up there. Those last 2 years have done a lot for his ADP. But I do still really like him. I think you've got another 1 or 2 more years of elite Judon, in my opinion,
I do too. I like him. I mean, yeah, I agree.
especially early on in the season. Apparently,
And especially on Sleeper where he gets that DL tag.
yeah. I'm gonna read. I'm gonna read Josh's notes
Yeah,
here.
please do.
He should be traded every season before Halloween.
Truly.
Really?
Yeah, just like, guys, are y'all seeing this dude?
We have
He's
to remember
averaging
that.
20 points.
We got to remember that next year.
yeah,
yeah.
like
Judon.
trade these guys away. Do it like the week of Halloween.
We can go ahead and put Judon in the dock.
yeah, truly.
Now.
Just save this. Like put a box around it.
Aaron, get on it.
Yeah,
Come on,
save
Aaron.
this. Yeah.
Come on, Aaron.
So, yeah, come on, Aaron. AA Ron. Let's talk about number 21 on the list. These are some interesting names here as we round out this episode. Christian Kirksey, the Houston Texans, 82 solos, 42 assists, 7 TFLs, 3 sacks, 1 fumble recovery, 5 PBUs, and 2 picks. He graded okay across the board, 56.1 overall. Best grade was 78.1 pass rush. He played 1,141 snaps, good for 97%. Across 17 games played, 12.72 points per game. Bobo, do we trust either of the Texans linebackers with all the draft picks, $37 million in cap space, and a new head coach in D'Amico Ryans who just had Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw?
I'm moderately interested in Christian Harris, as the most recent ADP would show. Christian Harris went at the 506. Christian Kirksey goes at the 808. I am way more apt to draft Christian Harris at the 506, which is still probably too early, than I would be to draft Christian Kirksey in the 8th round. I'm not interested at all in Kirksey. I
Yeah,
think
zero
Kirksey's the guy
interest.
who is going to be first man out.
When
I
you
agree.
when you get to the end of these lists, there's like dudes hanging on by their fingernails to the top 24, and Kirksey feels that way to me.
Yeah, Harris is the upside play, right?
Yep.
We saw him have some really productive tackle games.
And
Those grades were butt though.
Oh yeah, it
He
was,
was-
scary bad.
Yeah. So that gives me a little bit of
Like in the
pause.
30s, right?
Yeah, new staff, D'Amico
No,
Ryans.
I think he was in the 20s.
Oh my God, it was
I
bad.
think he was in the 10s.
I think he was in the negatives.
was he a negative PFF grade?
Is it? We should ask John if that's possible to be a negative PFF
But-
grade.
But I will say, I don't know. I keep thinking that Christian Harris's value is going to slide some, and I have found that that's quite the opposite. Where, did he go to Alabama?
Yeah.
Yes, he
That's
did.
why. That's exactly
Third
why.
round pick.
All the Bama guys.
He feels a little bit like Foos Goat to me. But
Yeah.
Christian Harris. The trap door could be under Christian Harris based on the draft and free agency.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like 2 linebackers are going to be productive there, I think. So
How many are they going to bring
I feel like
in?
one of them's going to, Christian Harris is going to have the opportunity to be that
Yes.
second guy at worst, right?
Yeah, I'm not saying he's like maybe instantly vaporized and has no role, but I think they're going to add to that room significantly.
A 5th round pick in a best ball, I mean, an IDP only best ball, that's still a little rich.
That's
rich
When
for
you
me.
can get like a Troy Anderson, like I did in the 8th, and Asamoah in the 9th.
You really want to draft Christian Harris where Christian Kirksey was drafted. You really want
Right.
to get him in the 8th round.
Yeah, I'd prefer that.
But even still, I'd rather have Asamoah. I'd rather
Yes.
have Troy Anderson.
Terrell Bernard potentially.
Exactly. Ernest Jones is
Jacoby
still available
Dean
at
was,
this
I think,
point.
drafted also after Christian Harris. Who do you want in 2023? Christian Harris, Jacoby Dean.
Jacoby Dean.
Yeah, because of the Eagles linebacker situation,
Yep.
probably.
I
But-
don't. Harris could get Wally pipped. He could be out the door. I really think that he could not have a role on this team. New regime, lots of money, lots of picks,
And we've seen that a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
think about Kenneth Murray,
and
Devin
the dude was not
Bush.
good.
That's a
Like,
good point, Josh.
we could easily see that. I agree.
What was his draft capital?
He was a third
Third round
round pick,
pick.
I believe.
So
Yep.
not super elite.
Nothing that, yeah, they're going to lose sleep over.
Man, that's a good point.
I'm just a little bit. Kirksey, you're gone. Get out of here.
Yeah, we're not.
No more
who cares?
relevancy whatsoever. Christian Harris, I'm not saying that he's on my do not draft list, but I do have concerns.
Man,
I
that's
think
gonna be,
these next few months will be very important for Christian Harris.
that's going to be some fun offseason talk to see who Raheem Morris brings in. If he brings in a linebacker, pay somebody in free agency.
D'Amico Ryans, you mean?
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, that's what I mean. D'Amico Ryans is used to excellence. He's used to Greenlaw. He's
That's
used
true.
to Fred Warner. So
Especially
it's
at
like,
linebacker.
yeah, he's like, you're telling me I'm going to start Christian Harris after what he put on the field?
Yeah.
Who
No
would you
thanks.
peg for him to bring in?
I think
Any of those dudes, I mean, David Long would be great, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What about Tremaine Edmonds?
Jermaine Edmonds, I could really see him being a
I
solid.
think I saw him maybe peg there.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could see him have a much better like second half of his career.
Yep.
And you got to also remember, I think the guy's still 24, 25.
Go play for
Jermaine.
D'Amico Ryans.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That'd be pretty
that
fun.
would be nice.
get a nice little contract. I could see that.
That's awesome that he's
Or
back there. I
how
really
about
like
this
that.
next guy, Levante David, Tampa
you
Bay
go.
Buccaneers? There's your answer. If you're wanting that kind of steady veteran leadership, Levante David.
But go get you a ring, Levante.
Yeah, hopefully he
Go
doesn't.
chase a ring.
Hopefully he doesn't do that. But he's got a ring, so maybe he's just like, let me get.
Let me go mentor Christian.
Yes, let me go get another bag.
Couple Christians.
Go play for D'Amico. That'll be fun. 80 solos, 44 assists, 10 TFLs. Good job, Levante David. 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, and 5 PBUs. 84.1 overall defensive grade, 88.5 in coverage, 1,075 snaps, 96%, 17 games played, 12.72. Levante David's still elite, Addy.
You ride him off into the sunset. Same
Truly.
thing with, like we've been saying since the show started, discount Bobby Wagner.
His whole career.
Still rings true. And did you boys notice that I drafted both of them in the best ball?
Did you do it for the memes, Addy?
Maybe so. Bobby Wagner in the first, Levante David in the 7th, I believe.
In the 7th?
Wow.
Discount
Wow.
Bobby Wagner, folks.
That's a
Gotcha.
discount. That's a 6-round discount by my math. Bobo.
I sure do love it. I sure do love it. I think what I wrote here, people are probably going to be talking about how much of a sell Levante David is. I think traded to the right team, we're going to see some life left here in old Levante Davis before he hangs the cleats up.
He is absolutely not a sell at all.
Very
What are you
s-
going to get? No one's giving you a third
Nope.
because he's 32, 33 years old.
Yeah.
He's
You
just a hold.
you just-
Classic hold.
And if you're a contender, throw out a 4th and enjoy the end of his career.
Redraft, who do you want more? Well, you're going to want Bobby Wagner more than Levante David.
Well, but at ADP, I'll take
But yeah,
Levante.
cost.
Yeah.
Definitely
I mean,
take Levante David.
Yeah.
Great question.
Especially if he goes to Houston and gets like 300 tackles.
Oh, yeah, there's a...
I mean, there are certain situations he could land in where it's like, oh my God, we could be looking at
Do
an
you-
LB1
his
season.
best linebacker year. and,
Seriously.
yeah.
Do you think that they're going to bring in that type of player, though?
I do. I think D'Amico Ryan's that defense is young and bad, and I could see them being like, we will pay
Mentor.
you $15 million for like 3 years. We'll give you a 3-year, $45 million deal. Just come mentor our guys. Help me raise up this young defense. Yes.
That's a good move.
Yeah, you pay for that veteran kind of locker room presence as you're trying to build a culture.
It's just what does Levante want to do?
Yeah.
He'll have
That's
it. He'll be able to do
He'll
whatever
have his
he wants
suitors.
to do.
Yep, absolutely.
Contenders will be lining up for him. I mean,
Now,
the Bills is where he needs to go.
that would make a lot of sense. That would make a lot of sense. Pair up with Matt
Levante and
Milano.
Matt
That'd be
Milano.
sick, bro. 2 best linebackers.
at
That'd be the
ya.
best linebacker duo in the league.
It's like a dating app. We're
Without-
just setting people up.
Truly. You go over here. You go over here.
Swipe left,
David
swipe
Long,
right,
come to the Colts.
move you
What
here.
a show this has been. Just so many good combos.
So many good
Yeah.
names.
Yeah.
And what if D'Amico Ryans, though, pulls off a trade for our 23 here? Fred Warner, San Francisco 49ers. Not going to happen, but that would be a lot of fun if he went and poached a guy from his old team. But Fred finished at 23 here. Gentlemen, he was 79 solos, 51 assists, 3 TFLs, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, 10 PBUs. We brought it up earlier. Second only to, who was it, Eddie, that had 11? Was it Milano?
Milano.
So 1 INT, 83.7 overall, 88.5 in run defense, 77.4 in coverage, 1,026 snaps played on 90. That's good for 96%, 17 games played, 17 started, 12.69 points per game. Steve Wilkes coming in gives me hope. Frankie Louvu, Shaq Thompson were solid. So no worries for me on Fred Warner. I think we can just expect, copy and paste what we've been getting the past few years, Addy.
Yep. You just appreciate Fred and you enjoy him and you just let him do his thing. You don't got to worry about him. You don't got to worry if he's going to lose a job. He's not, because he's one of the best linebackers in the league. Look at these tackle numbers since he came into the league. 124, 118, 125, 137, 130. Sign me up for that all day.
A lot of numbers north of 100 there, Bobo.
I'm still trying to process D'Amico Ryans and what he's going to do to the Texans defense. So I really like that for my boy Obo. I like it
I
kind
think
of
he's
for
a free agent, though, isn't he?
maybe he was just a 1-year deal there.
But they may bring him back. He was really solid.
Jonathan Grenard is probably still there
Yeah, I think you're right.
and was getting healthy last year. And then Jalen Petre.
Mm-hmm.
That could be interesting.
Seems like a nice little building block for him.
But yeah, Fred Warner. Yeah, plug and play. Copy
D'Amico
and
hit me.
paste.
He's got a lot of chance to put his fingerprints on things. There's just not a lot of talent
No wide
on the
receivers.
defensive side
Damian Pierce.
or the offensive side.
6-year
Jesus.
contract, so he's got some. I
Yeah.
think he's got some runway here to do some.
Surely
things.
they know, like, listen, we're putting you in a impossible situation.
We have fired 2 black head coaches before you, so we are going to give you a 6-year deal for a little bit of damage control.
Yeah.
And he probably said, "Look, y'all are just a shit house for black head coaches right now. So if
Yeah.
I'm coming there, this is my first head coaching job. You're going to give me a 6-year deal to help ease my anxiety around your ownership group right now."
Yeah. Been some weird stuff in
Obo
Houston.
is a free agent.
Dang.
I started to type the name. I was like, "Oh, Google, you're gonna have to help me out
Yeah.
because I have no idea."
Yeah.
I got OGO and it knew. Thank God.
Bob's the only person I know that knows how to pronounce it.
I'm not telling any of y'all anymore.
Ogbania Okoronkwo, right?
Wow, and I just drafted him in that best ball like he's still in Houston. Way to go, Josh.
Thank you. So Fred Warner
Big L for me.
is this is
L.
what we expect, right?
Huge
A lot of
L.
rounds left.
Fantastic LB2. This is what we see every year. This is like supercharged LB2.
Yeah, and we think he's going to improve. We've
That's
talked
right.
about this a lot. We've said this line a lot.
Go
but we
watch
think-
the top 8 Dynasty
yeah,
video.
he's going to age very well.
Very well.
Could he be a good sale?
I don't think so because everyone wants to act like this guy's not good or like.
I think the value is depressed compared to what his actual value is.
No one's giving you. I tried selling him. No one was trying to give me a second for him. Like no one gave me a second. People were going to give me a third. Nope. I'll just keep him at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't think you sell Fred Warner. I think you just enjoy everyone
He's gonna
running
get
their
better.
mouths
Yeah.
about him not being good. And meanwhile, 634 tackles is for first 5 years. Go find. Give me a list of linebackers that have done that.
You probably
We're
have it
waiting.
in the ranks.
I don't have it, but get me a list of that. Someone out there.
Sound off in the
It's
comments.
gonna be a
Sound off
very
in the
good.
comments.
gonna
Who's
be a
had
very good list.
634 tackles?
Whoever's on that list is going to be a very nice list.
Let's wrap up here. Number 24 on this list is Alex Highsmith of the Pittsburgh Steelers. 38 solos, 25 assists, 12 TFLs, and 14 and a half sacks to go along with 5 forced fumbles and a PBU, 78 overall grade, 88% of snaps, 17 games played, 12.65 points per game. Addy, I want to wrap up with Alex Highsmith and hear your thoughts because you took him in said best ball draft.
Yeah, I mean, stud.
Truly.
Absolute stud. And then he's just surrounded by studs. You have TJ Watt, who's coming back from injury, Cam Hayward, who is still just a freak. But I mean, Highsmith, I mean, he came into his own, 14 and a half sacks. He's got a really nice tackle floor. I think he had, 74 total tackles this year. So sign me up. I mean, I think that, are we going to get 14 and a half again? Probably not. But I mean, if we still get 10 to 12 and we're going to be getting 60 to 70 tackles, yeah, that's going to be a recipe for another top 15 finish.
Man, Pittsburgh needs some linebackers too. Here we are, the bad Devin Bush hasn't done anything, and he's due a contract in 2023, I think.
He might be
gone.
out the league.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Miles
Yeah.
Jack gone.
Miles Jack's gonna be gone.
Robert
Robert
Spillane
Spillane.
gone.
Wow.
That might be a team shopping in the
There's
linebacker.
Levante. There's Levante.
Yep,
or
that makes
one
a lot of
those
sense.
types.
Yep.
David Long or
You think with Levante though, it's
Ooh,
gonna be
or Tremaine Edmonds to pair with Terrell
There you
Edmonds,
go.
the Edmonds bros.
I think he's actually a free agent too.
Well, bring them both back.
Gross.
it's gonna be dependent on for
Bring in
Levante.
Tremaine. Get out of there, Terrell.
Yeah, exactly. Swap them.
Oh my gosh, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Sorry, I
I
had to
don't
get that
care.
in.
I think,
It was
yeah,
a
we
good
had a
joke. It
great
was well
Edmonds
worth
bros point that we had to override.
It was
yours.
worth it. It was
You
worth
said
it.
it's dependent upon, and then
I
we
don't
cut you
know.
off.
And that
immediately.
train was leaving the station.
Yeah, exactly. You could get on or get off, but we were making that joke, damn it. I think Alex Highsmith has to be on a list of that'd be a fun article, like top best ball targets that maybe you aren't taking a shot on in redraft, Bobo, or that aren't as valuable in redraft because Alex Highsmith, you just get the good weeks and not the bad. And there's a lot of good when you have 14 and a half sacks and 12 TFLs.
I would also like to do a study on some of these guys with really boring names and how they slide in ADP, just because it's not Buda Baker or Derwin James,
Zaven Collins.
or Max Crosby.
Yeah.
It's Alex Highsmith.
Alex, yeah. No thanks, Alex.
Oh, hard pass.
Yeah, go do your accountant job, Alex.
Yeah, but he's fine. I mean, he's I think he's going to be a nice value for you. I mean, even though he had 14 and a half sacks, he was still there for me, in the third or fourth round?
Yep.
I'm okay with that.
What about him in Dynasty?
I'm probably trying to sell right now. I think that 14.5 is probably his career high as far as sacks go.
That's a career high
that's
for
elite.
most players.
That's elite. I don't think he's elite. So yeah, I think if you can find a buyer,
Cash
goodbye.
out
Yeah,
Cash out.
buy Smith.
by Alex Bysmith.
Yeah.
Oh,
But what is that? BYE or BUY? You got to spell it out
BYE.
Ooh.
to make sure you're not
It's definitely BYE.
on the wrong side of that transaction.
Get the hell out of here, Alex.
Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. Make sure you check out the YouTube if you haven't subscribed over there. This episode will be up. If you're listening in the podcast feed, check us out on YouTube. We got a good looking show over there, youtube.com/@TheIDP Show. And make sure you check out the website as well, theidpshow.com. We got the crash course coming to y'all February 28th and March 7th with Jake Colhagen, Joey the Tooth, and Kyle Bellyfuel. It is free to all paid supporters at theidpshow.com. Like we said, Addy, you want to jump in for a month, $5, get the crash course and get the ranks for a month and then bounce out? No harm, no foul.
Yeah, check us
all
out.
good.
See what's in there. You're not going to want to leave, though.
That's right.
We got the best stuff there is. I've seen the junk that these other people are putting out there. It's trash. It's
junk.
trash.
It's junk trash.
It's trash. And they're just wanting to put out content.
We try to be very thoughtful, Bobo, and put out resources that are going to help the good people win some IDP championships.
Absolutely. From time to time, I'll have a decent article, and thank God Josh is an editor and can actually make it look, like a B minus, B, and not
It's
a
a lot
B
of red.
plus.
It's be a lot of red if you're getting that back.
Josh is real good at editing.
So, but yeah, the IDP crash course, we're already having some conversations about the IDP show draft kit. That's going to be phenomenal. The amount of stuff we're going to pack into that draft kit, y'all. We'll have an announcement about that coming here very soon. We'll have the ADP. We'll have the best balls. We've got Adam's Dynasty rankings, his best ball rankings.
It
So
just keeps evolving, keeps growing. It's getting out of control. You're getting a little scared.
it's getting Adam's very scared. He
a
calls
lot.
me every day scared for his life.
a lot.
So y'all make sure you check it out, theidpshow.com. And if you like the show, leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and a 5-star rating over on Spotify. It really helps us out. I will be back.
Don't be hosed about that.
Yeah.
Give us our flowers.
Give us our flowers.
We know
gave-
you listen. We know you listen.
Who did we give their flowers earlier?
Hassan Reddick.
Hassan Reddick. We gave Hassan Reddick his flowers. Give us our flowers.
Love flowers.
5 stars, rating and reviews. Love the show. It's so funny. Josh is very handsome. There is your written out review with the 5 stars.
Yep.
We try to make it easy for y'all, but that would be a big help. Support the show however you can. Share it with your friends, and we'll see y'all back. I'll be here Sunday doing the Super Bowl recap by my lonesome, and then next week, y'all, we will be back with John Macri. Big Nickel Season 3 kicks off. We will be talking through a redraft of the 2022 rookies, and then we're off and flying, boys. The off season, the on season is upon us, boys. So
I love that. I love that laugh.
that's that was a good laugh.
That's
That
right.
felt-
Sarcasm, guys. That's what that is.
That's going to be it. We will see you all on Sunday for the Super Bowl recap. Enjoy the big game, and we'll talk to y'all soon.